need a vaccine. Healing is possible.
Sing that out. And so I hear Nick Sirianni talking about
matchup in Kansas City, and we're like, okay, Super Bowl rematch. Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Steve Spagnuolo. Who gave the Eagles the toughest time in the postseason last year? It was this Los Angeles Rams team that came in here and was one Jalen Carter play away.
Actually,
from maybe
Green Bay Packers didn't let the Eagles do anything offensively.
Yeah, but that game we know was never really, and you tweeted it out at halftime, never really in doubt. But this was the team that played you toughest in that postseason run last year. They're coming in here 2-0. Matt Stafford looks as healthy as you could expect considering what we saw this offseason, and we know they've got a young defense that seems to be really growing into their own. You could argue that this team is a tougher matchup this year than Kansas City, even though it is a home game. And for that reason, you get out with a win, you get out with a win.
Let me make sure you said that. Did you say that the game in L.A. you didn't think was close? Or did I mishear that?
No, yeah. I'm saying the game in
the playoffs, this was the toughest playoff.
Yeah, because it was the absolutely toughest. I mean, it was the Green Bay game was 6 minutes to go. You were up by 6. Yesterday I heard Amy Fadul saying it yesterday on the air. I heard Ray Dunn was baffled by it that Austin and Amy were going, "Yep, never in doubt that Rams game." And Ray was like, "Are you kidding me?" I was standing there like pacing the floor
Tyler Higbee
with Connor Thomas.
Slip.
That was honestly, that game was absolutely slipping away, slipping away.
Yeah,
and it was the Rams are very, very formidable. They play tight games with the Eagles, but Sean never finds a way to win. Never finds a way to
win.
win.
Sirianni 3-0 against Sean McVay. Now.
Yes.
A lot of the talk this week has been about the Eagles offense, and that's going to be our question for you guys to discuss with us at 610-632-0975. Is this a game that will test your patience when it comes to the Eagles offense, knowing that you're probably going to have to put up a little bit more than 20 points like you did in this past win against the Kansas City Chiefs? But are we missing something with the defense, right? We're so focused on the offense. Here was Tim McManus earlier this week on the station talking about his worry for the Eagles defense.
The first thing that goes into my mind is Adoree Jackson. He did okay against the Chiefs, did not have a great game against Dallas. And now you're going up against probably the best 1-2 that you're going to face all season. Doesn't get much better than Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. I just got done watching their game against the Titans. And number one, Stafford is not getting hit a whole lot. He's like 37 years old, but he's still kind of wily and finds a way like to roll to a spot where the pressure isn't, and that allows the routes to develop downfield. And Nacua and Adams are just able to take advantage of their one-on-one matchups and really make some hay with it. So I don't know that it's a great matchup, honestly, for the Eagles, given what they can do to the secondary. I think this is a really big test. The way that Vic Fangio put it this week when I asked him about Jackson, when he was like, I thought he did better in week 2, and hopefully that kickstarts him into being a good corner for us. I mean, this would be as big a spot as any. If they can sort of stay buttoned up defensively in that secondary and allow the front four to do its work, that's a recipe for success. But that's still a big question mark heading into this matchup.
You heard Tim McManus there say it's not a good matchup for the Eagles. And look, I'm honest with you guys. I always am. I don't feel as chesty, as oozy of confidence as I did last week against the Chiefs. Are we not talking enough about the defense going into this game? Because we're so focused on the offense.
I think that you are. Look, Tim McManus knows, and he's in there every day. Sort of like Andrew was talking to us yesterday morning with Andrew Pacheco. The idea of this is a tough matchup. with it. But one thing that they've always done with, and going back, and yesterday I watched the 15-minute games. Dork Boy was busy yesterday watching the 15-minute games of the Rams when they played Nick Sirianni and what they've done to Matthew Stafford. And what they do is they force Matthew Stafford has been throwing the ball. They've made him throw the ball faster than he wants to.
Yeah.
He does roll the spots. He finds spots to be able to get the ball off and get it down and get it downfield. But they make him throw the ball faster than he wants to.
Well, you know why.
Get rid of it faster.
That back, too. They don't want him getting hit, man.
Well, also, too, there's something that the Eagles are doing that I don't believe that I saw the Texans do, and I watched the 15-minute game against the Texans that they played, and I watched the 15-minute game against the Titans. Neither one of those teams was getting pressure on Matthew Stafford up the middle. And I believe with Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, you will see pressure up the middle that Matthew Stafford has not seen yet this year. So if you're getting him pressure where he has to get rid of the ball faster, that's not going to let those downfield routes develop as quickly as often. When he has shots, though, for Puka Nacua and everything, you know he can make the throw.
Yeah, he's a dangerous quarterback, and those are dangerous weapons. And, oh, by the way, Kyron Williams is a very good running back, and Tyler Higbee's a great tight end.
He's going to fumble once for us, right?
That's true. Like he did during
fumble.
the regular season last year.
There's going to be a fumble, right?
That's a good point.
We're going to get one turnover from him on Sunday.
I would hope for that to be the case.
Fumble.
And look, we saw just last week against the Chiefs how one turnover was the major difference. The Travis Kelce bobble, which then was the interception by Drew Makuba. Maybe it'll just be one turnover. If you remember the regular season game, we talked so much about the divisional round of the playoffs, obviously, because that was the bigger game. That regular season game, Rams went right downfield twice, but that second drive was when Kyron Williams fumbled it inside the red zone. And that kind of kickstarted the Eagles the rest of the way. Connor, I know we got people chiming in already on the text line. Our question for you at 610-632-0975. When it comes to the Eagles' offense, is this the game that's going to test your patience? Now, I believe a lot of people's patience has already been tested. But what do we got on the text line?
Yeah, so Mark from Hatboro checks in here and says, yes, I would love to see the offense look much better, but at the end of the day, I want W's. I'm tired of seeing other cities win multiple championships. I want to count W's, not stats.
Okay, and look, you can count W's, but the question is, can this way of the offense be sustainable over the course of the season? And at what point is your patience tested with it? Maybe week 3 is still too early for people.
Well, that's why the thing is, though, is, as I said, get me 3 wins in September. It's your toughest month.
Yeah.
Get me 3 wins in September. This team cruises to a division title. And then, to me, you do have time to work it out. I do want to see results on Sunday, though.
All right, keep on texting in 610-632-0975. Will this weekend's game test your patience when it comes to the offense? Coming up next, if you can't tell, I'm not feeling too great about Sunday's game. John, however, is as confident as I was last week against the Chiefs. One reason is the defense not as good as we think, and not the Eagles' defense, the Rams' defense. We discuss that next here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
An NFC divisional round rematch. I'm Connor Thomas. This update is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Your favorite song shouldn't have to wait for Wi-Fi. Switch to Straight Talk and get real unlimited data on Verizon's 5G network. Straight Talk, available at straighttalk.com or Walmart. Eagles are gearing up for a big NFC divisional round rematch with the Rams at the Link, 1 p.m. Sunday. We got some more good news on yesterday's injury report. As Jalen Carter was a full participant, Dallas Goedert still limited, which puts his status in a bit of question for Sunday. Tim McManus was on the airwaves yesterday talking about the run game and how it could potentially open up the offense for A.J. Brown.
You can get some of those matchups one-on-one outside, and I think the Eagles would love the idea of A.J. Brown versus Emmanuel Forbes. It's worked well for them before.
We know that that's a big question all week, so we'll keep an eye on that closely on Sunday. Phil started a 3-game series in Arizona against the Diamondbacks tonight. First pitch for Game 1's 9:40. Ryan Nelson versus Taijuan Walker, who will be piggybacking with Walker Buehler. This update's also brought to you by the BetParks Online Casino and Sportsbook. Live bet sports on the BetParks app and play all your favorite casino games. There's always another way to win on the BetParks Online Casino and Sportsbook app. I'm Connor Thomas for 97.5 The Fanatic.
The Philadelphia Phillies are National League East champions. Keep it here.
May vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
This isn't your great-grandpa's sports talk show. This is today's talk show.
Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
It is 6:55 here on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic on this Football Friday, getting you set for Eagles-Rams, 1 o'clock kickoff. I do like the 1 o'clock, even though John said earlier, why is this a marquee matchup at 1 o'clock? But you know what? Maybe they're thinking about us morning show hosts, saying, you know what, let's give these guys a little bit of a break.
They never think of us. You kidding me? They're not thinking of us.
By the way,
they're thinking of the Colarulos of the world and the unfiltereds. They're usually catering to them. They're not doing that. These network executives, they're worried about the Ray Dunns and the midday shows. They're not worried about us.
It is crazy, though, because to your point, this is going to be a major game for a lot of eyes nationally. So I have the ratings so far through the first couple of weeks of the regular season, the 5 most watched games in the NFL. The Eagles are the top 2, by the way. The 5th most watched game so far this season was the Vikings-Bears Monday night game. The 4th most watched game was the Lions-Packers game in Week 1. Baltimore and Buffalo, which was a fantastic game, but that was a little bit later. That was the Sunday night game. That was the third most watched. Number 2, Eagles-Cowboys, and number 1, Eagles-Chiefs. And Eagles-Chiefs, blew it out of the water. 33.8 million people.
Biggest game ever for September and October in the history of the league.
And I don't think this game would have drawn more attention than that one, but it would probably be pushing toward the top because everybody knows how good these two teams are. Anytime this defending Super Bowl champion is on national television, people will watch. And plus, it's Eagles-Rams, a team that people will remember almost beat the Eagles in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big-time game. But let's not complain about something that helps the Eagles, getting a West Coast team to come here at 1 p.m.
It certainly does. And by the way, 1 o'clock games, and another little number for you, too, is that covering the spread, okay, and winning games. When the West Coast team has to do 2 consecutive weeks in the 1 o'clock time slot, their numbers are extremely poor. Again, just something to think about.
Well, that's good information to have. That's good information to have. All right, Johnny, part of your confidence, again, you're me. This is your chest week.
I'm very chesty.
I've been doing leg day this week. All right, it's a little bit different for me.
I got leg day today. I'm feeling good about that.
You're benching all week long, chest day, because you feel very confident about this game. And no, this is not you take one side, I take the other.
No.
You don't think the Rams defense is as good as people make them out to be?
I'm going to tell you this. Pump the brakes if you're talking about the Rams defense, because we don't know how good they are yet. Now, I'm not telling you they're not good, because I think they're one of the best young defenses in football.
I agree.
But we do not know what they are yet. They got the number 1 defense in football is what they'll tell you, because they've given up 14 points a game. The Eagles have given up 18.5, so 4.5 more points a game. But let me give you the real numbers, folks. The Rams have faced the 28th and the 32nd best passing offenses in the NFL.
Who are the Eagles?
The Eagles have faced the 7th and the 17th best passing offenses in the NFL.
Can you respond to my first question?
No, I'm going to give you these numbers first.
Okay.
And I'll respond to that. The Rams have faced the 20th and 24th best rushing offenses in the NFL. The Eagles have already faced the 11th and the 17th best rushing offenses in the NFL. So it looks like, wow, the Rams offense is better than the Eagles, and the Rams defense is better than the Eagles. Not so fast. When you're playing crappy teams, your numbers look good. And I'm going to tell you that the Eagles' 18.5 against those competition is as good, if not better, than the 14 that the Rams are averaging versus the pedestrian teams they played. Your point is valid. Your point is valid.
The Eagles are sandwiched between those two.
But what I'm going to tell you is that all I have to go off of is that the Rams have nothing in physicality on their defense that has ever stood up against the Eagles' offensive line in this modern iteration. So I already know going into this game that unless all of them have somehow taken a steroid regimen and all of a sudden in the offseason sprouted a pair, that they're all of a sudden going to physically be able to hold up where the Eagles' offensive line is not going to dominate the line of scrimmage. And I mean dominate. They've dominated in every matchup under Nick Sirianni versus Sean McVay. with this defensive front of the Rams. They have pushed them around. So as long as I have that matchup, I know you can run the ball, and there's been no problem with Jalen Hurts being able to pass the ball, but it's always been a very pedestrian passing game, like 140 a game, 150 a game when they play the Rams.
All right, I have a rebuttal, Your Honor.
Yes.
As you're listening to 97.5, The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN, HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities.
Did Colarulo tell you to address me that way? Is he teaching you legal terms
Well,
now?
Connor's the honor.
Oh, thank you.
He's the judge. He's the one that's
There
going
it
to
is.
tell us who's winning this argument. By the way, we're not broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio through the Comcast Business
We
Studio.
brought it with us.
Because we are broadcasting live at the Rally House in Springfield on Baltimore Pike, and you have Delco trivia questions that I can't wait to get
Yes.
to. My rebuttal to the numbers that you just gave us. All
Yes.
right? And I'm not trying to do let me make the case as to why the Eagles are going to lose. I'm just going to speak directly to the numbers that you just gave me. Those two teams have each played 2 games, right? The Texans have played 2 games. The Titans have played 2 games. The Rams have played them in each of those 2 games, right? The Texans played 1 game against the Rams. The Titans played 1 game against the Rams. What if the Rams' defense is just good, and that's why their numbers are so low? It's only 2 games of data.
Well, what I'm going to tell you is, too, is that where you got to give it a little bit better is that you already know what the Rams are against the Eagles.
Sure.
So you got to look at it and go, don't get intimidated by Rams numbers when you know the Rams numbers against the Eagles. And the one thing I'm always going to go by, I'll go to your man. We know we both respect Brian Baldinger a ton.
Yes.
When you know one team can beat the crap out of the other team at the line of scrimmage, nothing should, in anybody's mind, should change your thought process going into the game Sunday that the Eagles' offensive line will dominate the defensive front or will at least hold their own.
Connor?
Okay, because
Your
then,
response to both?
well, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to pick between your 2 arguments this week.
What's that?
Because if you think the Eagles can dominate the line of scrimmage, then they can win this football game. And I think we're all going to get to a point where we think they win this game. They are the better team, even though it's tight. But then the no excuses for Kevin Patullo week might go out the window. If they're just going to pound the rock with Saquon, you may not see an evolution of the passing game to the level that we asked for after the Chiefs game. That might be okay, but I don't think you can have your cake and eat it too.
I'll speak for John here. If Saquon rushes for 150, we're not talking about the passing.
And more
offense.
Connor,
okay.
It's the 22 carries for 80 yards where it's like, man, this guy is fighting for every yard that he can get.
And it's also picking the spots of where you run. And one of the things that was brilliant last year that Kellen Moore did in the 2 games, and they show it in the highlight video games in the shorter ones on NFL Plus. The Eagles saw where the Rams were going to try to jailbreak Jalen Hurts. And here comes Saquon Barkley on the little delay, and he runs right through them. They're sending and here goes Saquon the other way. That's an offensive coordinator understanding what's the look. We're in this running play.
Sure.
That takes skill, not just to go, yeah, we're calling this play and that's what it's going to be.
All right, I think that's all fair. I'm just saying that there may come a point in this game where we say they're doing a similar thing, possessing the ball, running it 3 yards, cloud of dust, and maybe they break one, maybe they don't.
Which, by the way, both Rams games, I'm sure Barkley had like 60, 70 yards in the first half, but it was the second half where he had 70-yard runs, multiple.
And that comes by, how does that happen?
Beating down your opponent with that offensive line.
Because you lean on them. You lean on them for 2 quarters. You lean on them. Then in the third, and by the fourth, you're busting things wide open because they can't. The Rams front cannot physically stand up. So guess what? Connor, your point's valid, but I want Kevin Patullo to understand that you got to lean on them. You have to physically beat them down. So in the fourth quarter, I want Saquon having a 30-plus yard run in the fourth quarter. I want that. That is where games to me are won and lost. Bill Walsh used to talk about that, the old San Francisco 49ers coach, that if you can't rush the quarterback in the fourth quarter and you can't run the football in the fourth quarter, you cannot win championships.
All right, Connor, get the text messages ready because I want to know, is this a game that's going to test people's patience at 610-632-0975 when it comes to the Eagles offense? Now, one thing to mention, I can't see Jordan Mailata getting thrown by Jared Verse again. Remember that last year?
Yeah.
That was in the game in Philly, right? Or was that that was the game in LA?
No, it was the LA.
That was
the
the
regular
LA
season
game. That was the game.
He uplifted him off his boots, man.
That was
nuts.
the game in LA. And by the way, Jordan owned it afterwards.
Yeah, he
too.
did. He did, and then he won the next time. What do we got on the text line?
All right, so this texter, no name. Oh, actually, it's Gina from Southwest Florida.
Hello, Gina.
What's up, Gina?
She says, yes, I need to see the offense flourish. Can't go into the Tampa Bay game with all the offensive questions. Need to see the O-line stabilize their play and give Saquon Barkley the ability to run. And I think we'll see Jalen Hurts in the passing game come to life.
And look, I think there's a difference because I think where sometimes, Connor, you get confused with John with the style points.
He's
versus,
always confused with me.
Versus the patience when it comes to Patullo. I don't need to see Jalen throw for 350. I need to see a competent offense. I need to see. Have you gotten?
I don't need the. I don't need. It's not going to be about numbers. It's going to be about how it looks.
How it looks. And so through 2 weeks, have you felt comfortable with what you've seen out of the Eagles offense? Forget the record, because I know, but they're 2-0. That's all that matters. Have you felt comfortable with what you've seen out of the Eagles offense so far?
But they're 2-0. No, I have not felt. I have not felt comfortable with it. It needs to improve.
Yes,
I've just always been a give them 4 weeks guy. And here's the thing, too.
And I know you have.
I think when I hear John talk about no excuses, to me, he's the voice of a vocal part of this fan base that says largely the passing game has not been good enough. So when I think about it, I think you guys are asking for the passing game to look great. But if you guys are comfortable with however they're productive, I need to know at some point in the show today, what's the line that will say no excuses week has been passed?
How about this? Can I get an offense? Look, how about this? There's a line. What's the old line from they couldn't define pornography? But when they see it, they know what it is.
You just know it. Yeah.
Okay, I will know. You will know. Andrew will know. We will know, and we will all be able to share in our group text during the game. This offense looks great.
Yeah, I don't want it to be a scratch and claw.
We will all be able to
down.
see it and go. This offense looks. You're not for first downs.
I don't want 8 tush pushes.
We're not having to look for a drive. Shouldn't have to be like you're giving up. We're not at a blood drive.
Right.
It's a touchdown drive. Things should look smooth. Things should be operating smoothly.
And they did in the first half of the Cowboys game, but then the second half it didn't. So we need to see a consistent offense. So is this game going to test your patience when it comes to the Eagles offense? That's our Eagles fan mentality question. We have a lot of stuff that we're going to break down for the game upcoming, because coming up next, the Rams defense to the Eagles defense. Last week I said to unleash Jahad Campbell. I told John Kincade
By the way,
yesterday.
it happened.
There's somebody that I have for today, for Sunday, that I want unleashed. It is Kincade and Salciunas. We're broadcasting live from the Rally House in Springfield. Come on, stop by. We have gift cards. We have Phillies tickets. Store opens up at 8 o'clock here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The Fanatic's Andrew DiCecco. The Philadelphia Inquirer's Jeff coming up tonight at 6 on 97.5 The Fanatic and
Owen's
97.5thefanatic.com.
Connor Thomas,
The voice of reason.
John Kincade,
The 60-year-old teenager.
Andrew Salciunas,
The 30-year-old senior citizen. Kincade Salciunas. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
7 a.m. hour is brought to you by the BetParks Online Casino and Sportsbook app. Live bet sports on the BetParks app. Play all your favorite casino games. There's always another way to win on the BetParks Online Casino and Sportsbook. Got to be 21 in Pennsylvania, Jersey, or Maryland. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
We are deep in the heart of Delco, broadcasting live from the Rally House in Springfield on Baltimore Pike. In this segment, we will get our first Delco trivia question. John Kincade, Mr. Delco himself, has put together trivia questions for the non-Delco folk. For myself, Connor Thomas. So I expect to fail miserably during this quiz. We'll get to that.
I don't think you will. I think you're smart. You'll be able to figure it out.
No, nobody's ever said that. All right, the player last week. I wanted the Eagles to unleash Jahad Campbell. And there was reason behind it. It was because it was somebody new, right? You just played the Chiefs not long ago. Andy Reid is a genius. We all know that. Patrick Mahomes is very good at being a quarterback.
It's good analysis on your part.
So I think that's part of the reason why Vic Fangio brought pressure last week. Like, hey, I don't want to give the exact same looks as we gave in the Super Bowl because they have the tape from it, so let's mix it up a little bit. But I wanted Jahad Campbell, somebody that they don't have enough film on, to get after the quarterback. I have another name for this Sunday of a player that I would like to see make an impact against Matt Stafford. Now, an impact does not mean 3 sacks. An impact means getting to him, hitting him, pressuring him, making him move, making him uncomfortable, which, to your point, John, in your film studies, because you are Mr. Johnny Film, you have seen so far through 2 weeks Matt Stafford look very comfortable in behind his offensive line. I would like to see something that I saw last week just a little bit differently. There was a play that I absolutely loved that Vic Fangio dialed up. He had all 3 safeties on the field. He had Reed Blankenship, he had Drew Makuba, and he had Sidney Brown. But he had Sidney Brown up in the box, he had Drew Makuba up in the box, and Makuba went after Patrick Mahomes. I would love to see a similar look, but Sidney Brown be the guy that's up in the box.
When you said it yesterday, my mind was blown. I love that because I think it's something that you want a guy to play with some reckless abandon.
And I'm not saying go hurt Matt Stafford. I'm saying this guy's athletic. He is a beast, and if you lay a little bit of a lick on Matt Stafford, maybe Stafford feels uncomfortable. Sidney Brown is a player that can make people feel uncomfortable. He just takes horrible routes, so hopefully he doesn't do something dumb on a football field. I'm not calling him a dumb person. I'm saying dumb on the football field, which we've seen numerous times. But I would love to see a 3-safety look where Sidney Brown comes off the edge and gets to Matt Stafford and makes him uncomfortable. That's my player for at least one moment. Great. One moment to make Stafford uncomfortable.
A nice stiff back.
Yes.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. I just wonder, because last week, that felt like a I know you have nobody to throw to type of strategy.
Sure.
And can you get away with that against Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams when one of your outside corners is going to be a Dory
I'm not
Jackson?
saying dial it up 80 times. I'm saying like maybe 1 or 2 times you send Sidney Brown toward Matthew Stafford and just make him uncomfortable, because Matthew Stafford is a very comfortable football player, and my God, when he has time, we know what he can still do even at the age of 37, even with epidurals in his back. Like, he is still playing quality football, and with those weapons, he can get the ball out quick. So maybe you won't have many opportunities to pressure. You won't. You just won't have that many opportunities because they are trying to get the ball out quick. But there will be a time where Vic Fangio says, all right, this is the time to send somebody, and I would like it to be Sidney Brown.
I love the idea. I like the thought process, but I really do want to make sure that there's like the big blanket out there in the secondary.
Sure.
Because I'm willing to let the Rams have to take 10, 12-yard drives to go down to the field to be able to get in scoring position. Now with these stupid kickoff rules, maybe I should change that to like 8 to 10.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, just remember, when you saw the Ken throw Chiefs in the Super Bowl, Vic Fangio did not blitz once. Now, part of that was they were getting pressure, but
they didn't need to.
Part of the game plan, too, was, hey, we got to kind of hang back, and we can give Mahomes stuff underneath, but our guys have to get home up front. I think we see something similar to that with how Stafford's looked so far this year.
Look, it all comes down to Jalen Carter, right? And that's why you could tell his absence in week 1. When there's no pressure up the middle, which is every quarterback's nightmare. When there's no pressure up the middle, and then all of a sudden the tackles can have help on the outside with Jalen Hunt and Nolan Smith, it's going to make their jobs more difficult. Now with Jalen Carter on the field, you know how much more dominant they are. And plus, Zadarius Smith in his 30% of snaps last week was spectacular. And so there's a lot of guys that they can throw toward Matt Stafford.
You said Jalen Carter. By the way, I got a text from a former Eagle yesterday saying, "Why are you saying Jalen Carter's out of shape?" I said, "I'm not saying that. I never said that."
No,
I
you never said that.
It's funny. Well, it was another member of the media with my name.
With the first name,
that was
John.
tweeting out that Jalen Carter's out of shape. I was told, good cop, bad cop.
Yeah.
Nick Sirianni was praising Jalen Carter up and down the wall, which is because it's been great. And Vic Fangio's a little pissed off about week 1.
Vic Fangio is the one that said he was out of shape.
So Vic
maybe that's
Fangio's
where
just
John
giving some
got it
grief.
from. Right.
Vic Fangio's just giving a little bit of grief. He's going to ride Jalen Carter like a horse.
Good. I like that. I think that's good.
Look, you want to get paid this year. This is what you want to do.
And, oh, by the way, this is why Vic Fangio didn't work in Miami. By the way, Miami loses again yesterday, so we'll see the future of Mike McDaniel. By the way, shout out to our man Michael Westwood.
He had the pick last night.
He had the Dolphins.
Oh, wow.
And
that was a crazy
and the Dolphins
crazy cover, though.
So our man Michael Westwood
nice over too.
Bounces back with that game last night. All right, give us one more text message, and then I want to get our first Delco trivia question.
Oh,
this is amazing.
I can't wait for that. All right, Ben from Bucks County checks in and says, to be fair, in 2023, the offense wasn't good, but the defense was also horrible. This year is different because the defense is incredible, and we believe that the offense can put something together. But for everyone looking for the offense to step up, maybe the defense can carry them till they do.
I'm not saying I'm upset with them winning, and I'm not saying that I don't think this team's going to not have an offensive outburst. It's just I need to see it. Like, I can't keep on saying, I'll see it eventually.
We're 2 weeks in. What do you mean can't keep saying?
Because look at the talent.
All right, and then if I say it 3 times and then 4 times, then we're going to start having conversations.
Connor, I'm going to stop it right here. And I'm going to draw a line in the sand right here. You know why I'm not going to tolerate this out of you? I'm not going to tolerate it because I had to tolerate it in 2023 with you. I had to tolerate it when we sat through this where everybody kept saying, oh, they're 7-1. They're 8-1. Look at the offense. It's going to be okay. Everybody be patient. They're winning. It's okay. It wasn't okay. It wasn't okay because we can see it with our eyes. We watch football with our eyes.
Yes.
It wasn't okay 2 years ago because we'll know it. We're going to know if the offense looks good when we see it. And when Andrew wants to see it, he demands to see it.
And I want to see it Sunday. By the way, I don't
Stop kicking the ball down the road.
Kevin Patullo is not Kellen Moore.
He's not.
Even though last year didn't look necessarily pretty, I expected the offensive coordinator that has had success in multiple other cities to continue to have success. I don't know who Kevin Patullo is. It's not me doubting him. It's me not knowing, and I have to see it eventually.
I'm doubting till it's proven to me.
We all said 4 weeks. What happened to 4 weeks?
I never said that.
No.
Go back.
Offensively,
You're
I said there's no patience when it comes to the offense.
We're not talking about Kevin. We never gave you 4 weeks on Kevin Patullo.
Well, then you should have.
He said 4 weeks on the Eagles. Style points on the Eagles. This is a guy who got a job handed to him, one of the greatest jobs in the NFL you could have. Eagles offensive coordinator. By the way, my Cardinal O'Hara Lions, undefeated. I bet you their offensive playbook looks a hell of a lot more complex and a lot more successful right now.
I'll take that bet.
Coming up next, we'll get our first trivia question. The music's playing. Also, as we continue to talk Eagles-Rams, we continue to ask mentality questions. So, again, our main topic
I'm asking
today,
one on Connor right off the air.
At 610-632-0975, mentality question. Is your patience going to be tested this weekend? But John has been telling you that this game is a game for Saquon on Sunday. Is that all you want to see? I'll explain more coming up next. It's Kincade and Salciunas here at the Rally House in Springfield, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Eagles set for the Rams. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles are gearing up for a big NFC divisional round rematch with those Los Angeles Rams at the Link Sunday, 1 p.m. And the Eagles got some more good news on yesterday's injury report as Jalen Carter was a full participant with his shoulder issue. Dallas Goedert's still limited, so that puts his status in question for Sunday. The Eagles, well, they had success on the ground last year against the Rams, but this year there have been questions about the passing game. ESPN's Tim McMahon has talked yesterday on these airwaves about the run game potentially opening opening up the passing game.
You can get some of those matchups one-on-one outside. And I think the Eagles would love the idea of A.J. Brown versus Emmanuel Forbes. It's worked well for them before.
So if Saquon Barkley gets rolling, then you can open up that A.J. Brown stuff. We'll keep an eye on that closely on Sunday. Phil started a 3-game series versus the Diamondbacks tonight. First pitch is at 8:40 p.m. Ryan Nelson versus Taiwan Walker, who's piggybacking with Walker Buehler. This update is brought to you by our friends over at Mercedes-Benz. Looking for an exceptional driving experience? Experience the power, precision, and intelligence of an iconic Mercedes-Benz SUV at your local Mercedes-Benz dealer today. I'm Connor Thomas on your own for the best birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni. Radio.
Now, back to the show.
7:27 here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. 33 minutes from doors open as we broadcast live from the Rally House in Springfield on Baltimore Pike, deep in the heart of Delco. Everybody knows that country song. We're going to have a discussion about Saquon Barkley in this Sunday's game versus wanting to see something else, which is the passing offense. But Johnny the K, Mr. Delco himself, has put together a list of Delco trivia questions.
You got a few real quick ones, and this is a really easy one for you. If I was to say to you, if you turned right out of this parking lot and you never got off of that road, where would you end up at the end of the road?
Well, it's Baltimore Pike, so Baltimore.
Nope.
I don't know, Westchester.
You never get off this road.
Westchester. 202.
The land of Oz.
Literally, you turn right out of this parking lot and just drive and never get off this road.
I don't know. I could do that same thing about my house.
You would end up in Key West.
All right.
You could you could say to somebody, I've always wanted to go to Key West, Margaritaville, go hang out with all the parent heads
somewhere.
You could say, well, go to the Rally House in Springfield, turn right, get onto that road, and take it all the way to Key West and never get off the road.
So I wasn't crazy to say
it
Baltimore.
Would dead end.
Nah.
It would dead end in Key West.
I'd fly.
That'd be the end of that's the end of the road.
Okay.
So there you go. So if you're in Delco, you realize you are just a hop, skip, and a jump from Key West.
And by the way, these are easy questions.
That's an
How
easy
was I supposed to know that?
Well, you youngsters don't realize it because you know what? Is a map is something. It's
How
just
is that
on your
an
phone.
age thing?
It's not an age thing. It's I don't live here.
You can just
never
do that.
have.
You can go all the way to Key West.
Well, that's good. I'm
right
glad
on. That's how close Delco is to Key West.
Yeah, it's right around the corner.
You don't realize it.
All right. So you believe this is going to be a game for Saquon Barkley? Allow the offensive linemen to just
to eat like they usually do against the Rams.
Against the Rams defensive front. Now, here's a question for you. I want to play this clip for you from Kevin Patullo.
Okay.
Here is Kevin Patullo from his press conference on Tuesday about the fine line between explosive plays and forcing them.
So explosive plays are great, and you always want to try to get them. It makes it way easier to score. It makes it way more efficient, obviously, for an offense to move the ball down the field. But there is a fine line because you want to make sure those explosive plays aren't coming at a cost where you're at a high risk for a turnover in a game like that.
So this goes back to something Connor brought up earlier because it goes against kind of two ways of thinking. Now, by the way, an explosive play could be a run play, right? Like explosive plays are what, technically 20 yards? Is that what they call it?
I think so.
20 yards
20.
is the explosive play. So you can get a 20-yard explosive run by Saquon Barkley. But if this game calls for Saquon to run the football, however, our patience is being tested when it comes to the passing offense. Does it matter to you if you see an explosive passing offense, if you see Saquon Barkley look like Saquon from last year? Because as somebody that is having his patience tested, if the ground game looks explosive, I'm happy.
I agree with you. I'm going to be able to watch this and go, is it smooth? Are they moving the ball smoothly? Are we having to, again, do I have to see 8 tush pushes? Do I have to see all this nonsense? No. Because you know what I don't have to see? I don't have to see the Rams do 8 tush pushes.
Right.
I don't have to see the Packers do look at the Packers offense. And who are you asking Jordan Love to throw to?
Right.
And look
Romeo
at
Dobbs.
look at the sleekness of their passing game. Watch the Rams on Sunday and watch the sleekness of their passing game. It's supposed to look that way when you have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and what I'm hearing, it looks like we will have Dallas Goedert.
And that's good to hear.
Plus Saquon Barkley.
We have a Dallas Goedert topic that we're going to get into in about 10 minutes. It's going to break my heart. It's going to break my heart, Johnny.
Unbreak my
All right, what do we got on the text line? Our question again, if you're just tuning in, 610-632-0975. This game is very much, I think, for the mentality of the fan base because we have seen them start the season 2-0. And yet I think whether you want to admit it or not, like I think even Connor they're 2-0. Deep down, you realize that the offense has not been good. Like, I mean, not been good, period.
It's been awful.
No, efficient, one thing, but good, another. There has not been a good offense despite their 2-0 start. And the question of sustainability, which A.J. Brown says is a fair question to ask, the wide receiver of the Philadelphia Eagles, who could end up being the greatest wide receiver in the history of the franchise, he believes it's a fair question. I think everybody realizes that this game, regardless of what you think, you might want to see a little bit more offensively.
Yeah, and just real quick, and we got a great text here from our guy Peter in Reading in 1 second.
Can't wait.
I don't want anyone to take me being patient as me saying I like what I've seen. The offense has sucked based on what I expect it to look like when they're at their best. I'm just not in the business of seeing 2 weeks and then saying it has to happen week 3. I have more time, and last year showed me that. That's all I'm at. I'm not trying to tell you everything's looked good.
You do realize, though, this is the exact same talking points that everybody did to defend the 2023 incompetent offensive coordinator.
And, John, it's the same exact argument we used through some people used through 4 weeks last year of a Super Bowl winning team.
But,
so
Kellen,
no,
we didn't have these arguments through 2 weeks with Kellen Moore. We did not. We did not. We were not talking about the Eagles' offense through 2 weeks last year. That is a false narrative that people are pushing.
We think there's a big difference right now. We will see through the first month what Kevin Patullo is, and if he's not getting the job done, we will have
the big difference right now is the resume, and the resume is that Kellen Moore has one and Kevin Patullo doesn't. My thing is, again, I'm going to keep on telling you guys, I don't necessarily feel great about Sunday's game. Part of my reasoning for not feeling great about Sunday's game is I need to see something from the offense. And I don't believe this is a game where you can have a field goal in the second half or score 20 total points and win. I think the offense is going to have to do more offensively in this game to win. And this is a big game because not only are you trying to be 3-0, there are a lot of injuries across the NFC where we will get to that at some point this show where maybe you could get a leg up on the competition this week. And oh, by the way, conference. The LA Rams, NFC team that will be fighting also for one of the higher seeds if you want to have home field advantage in the playoffs. This is a big week for it. But what do we got on the text line? We got what, Peter in Reading, you said?
Yeah, and he checks in and says, you guys sound a little soft. The Eagles have earned to deserve our trust. Okay, 18-1, Stafford 100 years old. Just move him off the block, an easy win.
Please address who you're talking to, because I am telling you right now, I haven't had an ounce of softness this week.
Can I also say, wouldn't if we're doing the peeing contest here, wouldn't the soft person be the one that's like, oh, everything's fine?
I don't know. It depends how you look at it.
Like, I don't think this isn't being soft. This is just straight up pointing out that the Eagles' offense has not looked good through 2 weeks. The Rams' offense, I think, could look good this Sunday. And if they do and the Eagles don't, then I think the Rams could win this football game.
I think Peter's saying you're Charmin and that Connor's Charmin Ultra. I think that's how he's sort of depicting it. He's the Charmin Ultra.
Yeah, man.
With the nice curly ridges, which, by the way, is worth it.
A-ply?
It's worth it.
All right, give us another Delco trivia question there, Kat.
You want a little Delco trivia question for you. Delco, it's not really a trivia question. It's just a factual history, so you can use this next time you come to see your sister.
Okay.
Because your sister lives here.
8 minutes away.
Do you realize you were at the lowest point in the entire state in Delco?
No.
Really?
We are the lowest point, closest to sea level, in the entire state of Pennsylvania when you're in Delco. We are the most seaworthy, lowest point in the entire state of Pennsylvania. Our topography, we are closest to sea level. It is the lowest point in the entire state of Pennsylvania. So we are very, seaworthy people.
I don't think I've heard the word topography since, high school.
Wait, see, I'm right around the corner from my high school.
That's good.
Well, I was not an academic all-star by any means.
All right, coming up next, one reason the passing offense, I believe, lacked last
Haley's
week
trying to figure out what topography
was
means.
the absence of Dallas Goedert. I think that was a major loss for the Eagles last week. There's a chance that he could be out against Sunday, or there's a chance, as John just said, that he could be playing Sunday. He was limited in practice yesterday. It's unfortunate, but we have gone from maybe to definitely when it comes to his future. We'll discuss that next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Kincade and Salciunas, 6 to 10 a.m. The Midday Show, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Boston Springfield, your go-to spot for all your football gear this season. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
All right, we'll get back to our text messages momentarily on our Eagles fan mentality questions for today, because the Eagles are getting set to take on the Rams, which is a great game. So excited for it. The rematch of the divisional round of the playoffs. But obviously through the first 2 weeks of the season for the Eagles, offensively, it has not looked good at all, except for the first half of week 1 against the Cowboys. Since then, we have seen very little scoring, 23 total points, right? 3 points in the second half with the field goal by Jake Elliott, 20 points en route to the win for the Chiefs. Context matters. I do believe there was a factor of the 1 hour delay from week 1 in the second half of that football game. Obviously, Steve Spagnuolo and the Chiefs players defensively had a good game plan and were able to go up against this Eagles offense early on in the season when they don't play in the preseason. Like, I understand the context. The thing is, I need to see it before I start saying, oh, we'll be fine. I have not seen it yet. I don't know if I ever will see it. As much as I like to sit here and say to you guys, well, we don't know who Kevin Patullo is. Maybe Kevin Patullo is great.
Maybe he may end up being great.
But maybe Kevin Patullo isn't great. And so far through 2 weeks, had a great first half against the Cowboys, and that's kind of been it. I haven't felt necessarily great on my return from Patullo.
He may end up being Brian Johnson. That's who he may end up being.
We don't
He may
know.
be Brian Johnson, who, by the way, got no sniffs for a job last offseason, even after the Commanders' great year and Jaden Daniels' great year.
Right.
Nobody was calling the Commanders going, yeah, we've got to get Brian Johnson to run our team, because they saw who he was. Sometimes guys aren't the guy.
Right.
And we're hoping.
It doesn't mean they're not great coaches elsewhere.
We're hoping Kevin Patullo is the guy.
Brian Johnson is a great quarterbacks coach. We saw it.
Yes, he is.
Maybe Kevin Patullo is a great passing game coordinator, behind-the-scenes guy. Or maybe he's a great offensive coordinator.
He might prove it.
He could. This Sunday, I could be shut down this Sunday. Right?
Could be.
They go out there. Jalen's thrown all over the place. Dallas Goedert could be back. They have this offensive game plan that was masterful, and they take down the Rams. And then I go, all right, check. Now I've seen it.
Little button hook patterns to Dallas Goedert, to me, is not a great creative passing game with these offensive weapons.
I got you.
I need to see A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Dallas Goedert, great. I need to see those guys.
Now, Dallas Goedert could be back on Sunday.
Yep.
He was limited at practice yesterday. You're feeling pretty good that he could be back on Sunday.
I'm feeling good that there's a good chance he's back.
This is a tough conversation for me, man.
I'm borderline devastated having to listen to it.
The discussion of this may be his last year with the Eagles has turned to has to be, or definitely is. I think one of the biggest mistakes that this team has made, and there's been very few mistakes when it comes to Howie Roseman in the front office and the drafting, as we've seen. Look at your first 2 picks in this year's draft already making impacts in the first 2 games. We all know what Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean did the year before. So it's not like I would say I would have traded this guy out for a second-round tight end. But something that the Eagles have been doing for my entire life has been 2 years ahead when it comes to the tight end, right? Brent Selleck to Zach Ertz to Dallas Goedert. There was never the, all right, you're done. We are going to bring in this rookie who's now going to fill that void that you left behind. There was usually a learning period for a year or 2 with some of these tight ends that eventually took over. I think it's been a mistake that they've not addressed that position in recent years. The borderline devastated comments that I made during this offseason, part of it was I like Dallas Goedert a lot. The other part of it was I did not want to begin the road to the repeat with a rookie tight end or a scrap heap guy, like the guy that they got from the Raiders who they eventually traded. Like, I didn't want to go into the season knowing how important, and that's the other part, knowing how important the tight end is on this team, the way this team operates, the way Jalen Hurts is usually underneath in the passing game. His ability to throw over the middle of the field, which I think they shy away from unless Dallas Goedert is on the field. Just look back to week 1, the connection that he had with Goddard. Look back at the playoffs last year, the connection he had with Goddard. Dallas Goedert is a tremendous, tremendous tight end that I don't think ever reached that top of his ability with this team. A, because of maybe the offense. B, because of the talent around him. C, because of his health, unfortunately.
I hear you, and I know it's painful for you to say it.
Yeah, because we all love.
I think every Eagles fan hears you say that, and we all agree.
Yeah.
Everybody's nodding in their car. Everybody's nodding at their desk. Everybody loves Dallas Goedert, and we love what he's done for this team. But the reason I wanted them to move on, and the reason is that, first of all, I realized that you can't have an all-star team at every position.
Right.
You gotta. I would think that now, though, I'm a little more concerned that you'd have an offensive coordinator that could find a way to survive with a tight end that wasn't of his caliber. But more importantly, it wasn't the end of the third quarter of the opening game, and he was hurt again.
Yeah.
It's just who he is. He's never going to be healthy.
It's a shame. Look, this is not a he's soft thing. We're not having that conversation.
No, we're not saying he's soft.
It's just he's injury prone.
He's just injury prone, and it is a fact.
And look, Grant Calcaterra, I like him, but he's not tight end one word. Like he's not a tight end one. And DeCecco always tells us about how important Dallas Goedert is, not just in the passing game, but also the run game. And you saw his absence last week for two reasons. Last week, Saquon Barkley had to fight for every single yard because there were missed blocks from Grant Calcaterra. And, of course, also in the passing game. It just sucks that it's going to end up being a scrap heap guy probably, or it's going to be a rookie out of the draft next year without that learning curve with Dallas Goedert. It bums me out that this has to be the last year for Goedert.
Well, I think it's not fair necessarily to say the Eagles made a mistake with how they handled this. They made a conscious decision to prioritize other positions.
Sure.
Look at the linebacker core that they have got right now. And they go out and they draft another guy in the first round this past year. We've never seen this team with linebackers like this.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Look at the wide receivers that they have. How many years did we sit there and talk about McNabb and Vic and Foles and all of these guys?
But look at this offense and what they do, and this offense needs a legitimate tight end.
No, I understand, but there are other positions that they have prioritized. And then last year with the secondary, they go out and they draft two guys highly. When was the last time we saw them draft a corner in the first round? Like they have,
2001?
So, yes, tight ends are what we're comfortable with in this town because you brought up the Selleck to Ertz to Goddard. But they have prioritized other things that have led to them being defending Super Bowl champions. It may just be a different style of team.
And my guess is that the 2026 draft is going to be the draft of the offense. Mm-hmm. It's going to be to restock the shelves
because you're paying
because you're going to have to pay your defense. But you've drafted the last 2 years heavily on the defensive side of the ball. And by the way, Howie and the scouting staff and everything like that, and Alec and the entire crew over there have done an amazing job of stocking the shelves with young talent that is going to be affordable for still a couple of more years. Now you got to start. You got to think about that offensive line. You got to start. They're going to have to get some new offensive linemen in here. They're going to have some young guys that they can start to think about. And so that's going to be. I think it's going to be the draft of the offense this year, and one of them will be a tight end.
Yeah, it has to be just because you have to start thinking about the future, and it's a shame because again,
remember a lot more trades now. There's a lot more trades. You don't necessarily have to have a scrap heap guy. You could get a guy coming off his first contract who actually has some seasoning and some experience that they think can fit into this. And I would trust Howie and them to go, he's a guy, let's go get him.
All right, Connor, what else do we have on the text line? Eagles mentality questions today. Will this week test your patience when it comes to the offense, or will you continue to say, hey, I'm giving the guy a couple of weeks. I'm giving 4 weeks minimum. Andrew DeCecco has been talking about the Denver game. That's kind of been the game that he's going to start really focusing on when it comes to Kevin Patullo and the offense. I think this week it's going to test my patience because I think it needs to be better in order to win on Sunday. What do we got on the text line?
Dan from Phoenix checks in and says there's too much firepower on the offense to be 31st or 30th in the league. It doesn't need to be lights out right away, but just something that doesn't look like they're walking through wet concrete.
If it was mediocre, if we would not be having this conversation if the Eagles are 2-0,
right?
And if Patullo's passing offense was what, 16th?
Sure.
We would not be having this conversation.
Let's say week one against the Cowboys, all 4 quarters were good, and then last week you go, look, Spags, Chiefs defense.
And you win a game in Arrowhead, and your passing game is 16.
But the problem is it's been 6 quarters, 6 straight quarters where the offense has looked lackluster, and, Hurts thrown for 101 yards. I'm okay with that en route to wins. I am. But at some point, I'm going to have to see it look better because at some point, I don't think I can just rely on the defense week in and week out to win you football games, which they have the last 2 weeks.
They did almost get struck by lightning in week 10. So,
that's true. All right, continue to text the show at 610-632-0975. Doors open up here at the Rally House in Springfield in about 10 minutes. We have $50 gift cards to give to you if you come on in. A couple of those. I think we have 5 of them. Plus, register on site for Phillies Marlins tickets for September the 25th, section 104, row 2. So beautiful seats right there in right field. Coming up next, I have a question that I want people to chime in on the text line as well for the rest of the show as we continue to talk about the mentality. We keep on talking about how this game means more than others. Where did this game rank for you when the schedule came out? We'll discuss that next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Jalen Carter, a full participant. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles are gearing up for an NFC divisional round rematch from last year. The Los Angeles Rams come to town for a 1 o'clock kickoff at the Link. And we got some more good injury news here from the Birds on yesterday's injury report as Jalen Carter was a full participant in practice, had a shoulder injury that had him limited earlier in the week. Dallas Goedert's still limited, so his status is in question for Sunday's game. The Eagles, they had success last year on the ground game when they matched up against the Rams. But ESPN's Tim McManus talked yesterday about opening up the passing game.
You can get some of those matchups one-on-one outside. And I think the Eagles would love the idea of A.J. Brown versus Emmanuel Forbes. It's worked well for them before.
We'll keep an eye on that closely on Sunday. It's something a lot of people want to see.
What time are they playing?
1 p.m. The Phillies start a 3-game series versus the Diamondbacks tonight. First pitch is at 9:40. Ryan Nelson faces Taijuan Walker, but Walker will be piggybacking with Walker Buehler. So we'll keep an eye on that. This update is brought to you by Groundworks, your trained and certified experts for basement waterproofing and foundation repair since 1997. Book your free inspection at groundworks.com. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Yo, everybody, it's Bill Colarulo and the Bird.
in Philadelphia. Now, when this schedule came out back in May, we knew already who they were playing, right? We found that out back in, January? We find out who the opponents will be for the Philadelphia Eagles. But even though we found out the opponents, there were still things that had to play out in the playoffs. And so obviously the Eagles-Rams playoff game was so memorable. And there is the belief for some, not for us, but for some, that maybe the weather impacted the game, so it's going to be like the San Francisco thing. Oh, man, we weren't healthy. Imagine if we were healthy, how that game could have played out. By the way, I've not heard Amon-Ra St. Brown talk that much recently because the Lions players were saying that if we were healthy, we would have played the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. We would have won, and we would have gone to the Super Bowl. But when the schedule came out and you knew the week-by-week breakdown, where did this game rank for you in terms of, all right, I'm circling this one first, I'm circling this one second, I'm circling this one third. Where did Eagles-Rams come out for you? And I want people to chime in on this as well at 610-632-0975.
Rams, to me, is the number one because of the significance in the NFC. Packers was one, Rams was two.
It was in the top 4 for me. I mean,
why don't you say top 17?
No. What? See, this is exactly the issue with the Kevin Patullo thing. When did 4 become 17
well, you gotta get
to
off
you
the
people?
Fence.
I'm not on the fence. I laid this out. But, no, I would take the Chiefs one over this one. I would take the Lions one.
I had Lions one. Lions was
Lions
number one.
one.
Because when I do believe that if they were healthy, it would have been Eagles-Lions in the NFC Championship game. And we were, I don't want to say robbed of it because we obviously benefited from that, being able to host the Commanders in the NFC Championship game, then winning and going to the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl, in case you guys need a reminder of that. But Eagles-Lions, if everybody is healthy when they play one another, that's going to be the matchup that didn't happen. And I would love to see it.
I think all along I've said to you, I thought the Packers were...
You have said that number one, by the way.
And to me, the Packers, that game... To me, I had it circled as the Monday Night Football game at the Packers was going to be the one that was just going to be the Titanic matchup. That was going to be the one that was, and probably determining home field advantage in the NFC.
By the way, I had Rams ahead of Chiefs, too.
So did I, because it's NFC.
Well, not just the NFC. The Eagles beat the crap out of the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't a great game, can't wait to watch round 2. It wasn't Balboa, right? Right? Yeah. It wasn't Rock and Apollo. The first fight was so good you couldn't wait for the second fight. The first fight was a complete beatdown with the Chiefs, so I wasn't like, oh man, can't wait to see round 2 of this. Eagles-Rams week in the regular season was close. Eagles-Rams in the playoffs was close. And now I think this game's going to be close, and that's why it's one of the games. I had it circled, I think, second on my list.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'll take the Bills, I'll take the Lions, and I will take the Chiefs matchup before I take this one when I looked at it ahead of the season. But it was in the top 4. This is a big game. And I don't really think about NFC versus AFC. My thought is...
So that doesn't come into play.
I feel like you should.
I think you should, though.
Yeah.
Right?
No, because I think about what is the game that I'm most intrigued to watch play out, not what the result of this game could mean, not like where the seeding could change. It's more, I like this team, I like that team. I can't wait to see a match.
Yeah, it's just there's more of an emphasis to the importance of the game. Like if the Eagles lost to the Chiefs last week, you would go, damn. They're 1-1. That sucks, but you realize, oh man, that didn't kill us because of the conference. Whereas a loss this weekend to the Rams, it wouldn't kill you, but you get your first loss handed to you in the conference. And so this game is important, and of course, all the storylines that surrounded it. You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station broadcasting through the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. The doors will be opening up now, as we broadcast live from Rally House. It is a fantastic store. Rally House in Springfield on Baltimore Pike. Got here before the sun rose, and it has now risen. And now everything's even brighter, believe it or not, because now we have the natural sunlight coming in, shining on all the incredible gear for the Eagles and the Phillies and the Sixers and the Flyers. Rally House is your one-stop shop for literally every single store. And also, we have gift cards to give out to some people, some lucky people that come in here today, and also Phillies tickets that you can register for on site. All right, let's get back to the text line at 610-632-0975. If you're just tuning in, we have a question for you when it comes to the Eagles offense. Is this weekend going to test your patience? Because I think a lot of us would like to say we're going to be patient with the offense. I never was. Never was. because this Eagles offense is too talented with the players on it.
You're smart.
Thank you. I can explain why maybe they looked bad in the second half against the Cowboys. I can explain why it didn't look great this past Sunday against the Chiefs, but I'm not going to do 17 weeks of excuses or 17 weeks of reasonings why it didn't look good. At some point, the old saying of you got to bleep or get off the pot, like I need to see an offense with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Saquon Barkley, and Dallas Goedert, and Jalen Hurts, and a top offensive line not have to fight for yards. Not first downs, not crossing midfield, not scoring touchdowns, for yards. And it seems like it has been a bit of a fight for the Eagles through the first 2 weeks of the season to get the offense going.
Now, Mike from Turnersville checks in. I'm not sure if he's not counting the Chiefs game because he's looking at upcoming games, but he has his rankings. He said he has Tampa Bay as his number one game because he needs to see what this offense does against Todd Bowles. Packers 2, Rams 3, Bills 4, Commanders 5.
I don't have a problem with someone putting Tampa Bay up there as that game because, look, I have Tampa Bay as a top 3 seed in the NFC this year. So I have no problem with that. I just always looked at that as the boogeyman game for me of September. So I guess that is like a measuring stick type of game. Maybe I haven't given Tampa the credit, though, of thinking that they're really a roadblock to winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Like I look at the Rams as a more formidable playoff opponent just because they've done it before. Right?
Maybe that changes what we see of the Rams, what we see of the Bucs down the line. I need to see more of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that Bucs team is not much different than last year's Bucs team. They added Emeka Egbuka, but
made it even better.
Well, sure, but they lost at home to Jaden Daniels and the Commanders, who the Eagles hung 55 on at home. So I don't know. I like Baker Mayfield in the regular season. Dog in the postseason.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see, but they're going to be a good football team. And oh, by the way, again, as John mentioned, top 3 seed. They could host a playoff game. Well,
they
will host a
playoff game.
But if they're a top 2 seed, they're hosting the second round of the playoffs as well, and you got to hope that you're not going to Tampa Bay. Not that Tampa Bay is, and you'll see it, John, and anybody that's traveling via Philly sports trips or going down there for the Birds game, you'll see how easily it is to take over that stadium. It is. And especially a ravenous fan base like Philadelphia. The Eagles fans will be able to take over. I imagine it's going to be probably 50% Birds fans like it was the last time I was down there. But still, you'd rather be at home where it's 95% Eagles fans and not 50.
Absolutely. Look, and remember, too, the 2 seed guarantees you 2 home games.
Right.
As long as you can win your first one, it guarantees you that second.
And that's why these conference games matter, and that's why this game, this Sunday, is very, very important. What else we got on the text line?
Eric from Coatesville will join us on the text line. He says, I'm not worried about this game Sunday. I have full faith in the team. Zach Bond and Zadarius Smith will pull through on defense to lead the Eagles to a win.
Yeah, look, I'm excited for Zadarius Smith now, week 2. See how the body holds up, right? He didn't have a training camp. I know he trained. It's not like he just rolled out of bed.
And you said it the other day, 20 snaps?
I forget the amount, but I know he played 33% of the snaps.
I think he had 20 snaps.
Like
to me, so he, if I'm not mistaken, that's the role that they expected Brandon Graham to play last year.
Until Bryce Huff was unplayable.
So he's that guy. And to me, his snaps were so impactful. And even in the 15-minute game, again, if you get NFL Plus and you pay for it, his snaps were so impactful. You just saw him all over the place.
Yeah, everybody on that front. Nolan Smith, as Andrew DeCecco pointed out, even though he wasn't in the stat sheet all that much, what he was doing, blowing up offensive tackles to then allow other players to make plays. Josh Uche had a couple of very good run stops. Even if he wasn't the guy that made the tackle, he was the guy that made that initial hit at the point of attack, which then allowed other people to make the final play. So the front 4 with the addition of Zadarius Smith is a lot better than what it was. Clearly, they weren't playing Azeez Al-Jalaari. Like, week 1, he didn't even dress, and that was before Zadarius Smith was even signed. So, look, I get it. I'm excited for Sunday's game. To say I'm not worried at all, I don't feel that way at all. Like, I am worried about Sunday's game. I am.
I see the guys from the Piazza Auto Group are in the house.
Oh, is that right?
They actually look like they could help some of the offensive linemen for some of the some of the teams in the NFL. We could dress a few of these guys.
Oh, dude, yeah,
we could dress a few of them.
Yeah,
absolutely.
These guys are knocking people out.
They can knock some people out of the way, so it's good to see some as they stop on by here at the Rally House this morning.
Yeah, we're at the Rally House here in Springfield. So go ahead, Mr. Delco. Give us another, I guess, fact instead of trivia question.
Well, I'm going to give you a fact, is that you have more tap rooms in Delco. Do you know tap rooms?
Yeah, the type of dancing.
No. Think again. Haley, do you know what a tap room is?
Like beer?
Yes. Okay, very good. There are more tap rooms if you stood in any 5-mile radius in Delco than any other township or county in the entire state of Pennsylvania. You will find more tap rooms.
Can I ask something?
Yes.
What are your sources? I'm just curious.
This is Delco
Times?
Yes. No, this is Delco. This is your actual Delco.
Totally
history.
true facts
this
about
is
Delco.com.
history. You're going to find more Delco. You're going to find more tap rooms because we are the Delco. This is Delco history. Man.
Hell yeah, man.
This is where
I
you
love
are.
the Delco history tab.
You could roll on over to the Stanley Cup if you wanted. I think if that's still there, you can maybe get down to Lou Turk's after the show.
That's wonderful.
If you're on your way home because you go back to Jersey.
That's true.
I don't think the Stanley Cup's been here since the 70s.
Or I could just go to Key West. I found that out today.
It hasn't.
All right, coming up next, we have today's headlines with Connor Thomas. Continue to text in. Is this game going to test your patience when it comes to the offense? You can text in at 610-632-0975. Our other question for you. When it came out, the schedule, where did this game rank for you? Did you circle this one first, second, third? Curious to see where this Eagles-Rams game stands for you. It's Kincade Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Attention, Delaware Valley. 97.5 The Fanatics Unfiltered with Ricky Bowe and Bill Colarulo.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
All right, it's 8:12 here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. We are broadcasting live from the Rally House in Springfield on Baltimore Pike. We have one more $50 gift card to give away to one lucky person that walks in through these doors. And also, you can register on site here. You don't have to stick around for the remainder of the show. Register on site for your chance to win Phillies Marlins tickets for September the 25th. Section 104, row 2, beautiful seats.
That is an absolutely great seats. That's
Home
awesome.
run territory.
And it should be a stress-free game for the Phillies at that point, not just because they're playing the Marlins, but the fact that they should be locked up in the 2-seat unless they're still fighting for that 1 seat. So come on out, buy something beautiful from Rally House. You might buy a million things from Rally House because there's so many things to choose from. And then you can register for the tickets for the Phillies game as well. Also,
you can Christmas shop, by the way, today.
You could. I just got a DM from one of our great listeners.
Okay.
That is making his way over here. I won't tell you who.
Ooh, a secret?
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
A little surprise party.
A frequent listener and a common contributor to the Ray Dunn.
I know who I know who it is without you even
What,
telling
did he DM you or?
No.
Who?
I'm guessing that it's Stan from Drexel Hill.
I'll let you know when they get here.
I hope it's Stan from Drexel Hill because I've learned more basketball listening to his calls than any guest we've had on.
I'll let you know when they get here.
He's awesome.
I will let you know. All right, it is 8:13. It is time now for today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Today's headlines with the Connor Thomas.
All right, it's brought to us by who, Connor?
Our friends over at Lundy Law. For over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name Lundy Law. Your injury lawyers. Visit LundyLaw.com. That's LundyLaw.com. Now, boys, you like to make fun of the D3 athlete occasionally.
Yeah, I do.
I take a little offense
I've
to that.
never made fun of the D3 athlete.
I don't make fun of the D3 athlete. I mean, look, the world needs ditch diggers, too.
No,
Right.
I have
Judge
said
Snell said.
on these airwaves that you playing in D3 baseball is still better than what millions of people across the
Better
country
than anything I
ever
ever
done.
did.
Well,
So I don't know where you're getting that from.
We might be able to make fun of this D3 athlete.
Maybe you're educated.
Lycoming College, out in Williamsport, local school, relatively local.
Our boss lives out there.
They have a new freshman who's a little bit older than
I
the
saw
typical
this.
age of a
How
freshman.
old?
Their college football team has a 58-year-old freshman playing linebacker.
What?
Well, do you know the story?
Yes, so he, Tom Sello is his name, and he quit high school in the 1980s. He had some issues with drugs, worked for the city streets and parks department for 33 years.
Yeah.
And now he's getting to fulfill his dream of being a college
It's
football
actually
player.
a great story.
It is a great story.
This isn't the Miami tight end that's been 9 years in college.
No,
can't
that's a
hang
beautiful
I love
story.
that guy, too.
This
but-
is a guy
That's
that
a great story.
had a unfortunate past.
Yes.
Cleaned up, so very happy. His name's Tom, right?
Yes.
I read the story yesterday. Very happy for Tom. It's a beautiful story, and
That is a great story. I love that
it.
story.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I just can't imagine what the first day at practice is going to be where you take
Dude,
the
the dude
shot
looks
from
the
like a
dude looks in
21-year-old.
shape.
Big guy.
Now the question is like looking in shape at the age of 50 and trying to play
58.
with 58 and trying to play with 20-year-olds is a little bit different.
Bro, I'm 30, and if I sleep
Does
weird,
it
I
say
can't
what
get out of
he's
bed.
playing?
He's playing linebacker.
Oh, my God.
yeah,
Yeah, let's
no,
go.
he looks like one.
Play some hits, Tommy.
That's awesome.
He looks like when you CGI a little
guarantee
bit,
you.
he's playing a movie as a
I
linebacker.
could take some of you 20-somethings into some of these Delco bars, and I'll show you some 50-somethings, and you'd be scared.
Hell yeah, man.
All right, so next up, have you guys been to the movies recently? Seen any good sports movies?
I'm going to see the long walk this afternoon with
Okay,
my
cool.
dog.
I
That was
took
good.
my son to his first ever movie.
Oh, dude,
well,
that's
movie
sick.
theater experience because we saw Toy Story because they're
Yes.
celebrating the
Yeah.
30-year anniversary of Toy Story's release, and it was raining. It was Tuesday when it was
Right.
raining. We were like,
I go catch a movie?
let's. He ate some M&Ms. It was awesome. It was cool.
Now, the movie I'm talking about might not have been a one to bring your kids to, but the film Challengers with Zendaya on it.
Zendaya?
Zendaya. I always mess that up. I
It's
don't know how to say
Zendaya.
it. Zendaya. Okay.
She's from Shake It Up.
There's the storyline for that movie is her kind of being in a love triangle with two tennis players. Well,
Okay.
Like Zendaya would go for tennis players.
swimsuit supermodel Brooks Nader
Oh, I saw this.
is living out the movie.
I saw
So
this.
apparently she has been dating both Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner.
Who just went head to head.
And always do. They match up in basically every big tournament in tennis.
So they're matching up off the court, too?
She's been dating both of them. She made recent comments where she basically said, well, guys do it sometimes and there's no problem, almost confirming that she's been dating both.
And they don't know.
Which one of them's up in the
Well,
scoreboard?
now they know.
Yeah. That's a good question.
I do not know. We don't have the details, but that is for that to happen between the two top tennis players in the world is crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. I saw the story, but I guess they did not know, right? They had no idea.
And they did not know?
On.
No, that'd be like if somebody was dating Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts
Now, that's
at the same
not a
time
cleat,
and at the
that's
Super Bowl.
not cleat chasing. That's tennis shoe chasing.
I guess
Sure.
so.
Yes.
But an interesting situation there in tennis. We'll round out with our replay here.
Is your patience going to be tested this weekend?
And honestly,
Yes.
you guys have both said yes. I'll sit here and tell you, I have a lot more patience in me. And part of it is I'll still lean back to the quality of this offense. I find it really hard to believe that we're going to be sitting here in week 5 saying that we haven't seen a flash.
Can I just ask you a question? Yep. What was the quality of the offense in 2023?
It was
terrible.
No, but the players, right?
Yeah,
it was the same. It was the same roster.
But no, it was not.
Saquon.
No, it was not. Saquon Barkley is now on the team. And was last year the adjustment the Eagles made? Did that feel difficult to figure out? I know it took them 4 weeks.
Yeah,
but
the players had to actually tell the coaches, "You're not smart enough."
But was it a
do what
simple
we're asking.
adjustment to say, "Let's lean on Saquon in the run
No,
game"?
but Connor, again, you can't copy paste what you did last year.
You can't.
And you've seen already last week 22 carries for 82 yards. He had a fight for every inch that he did.
I'm not saying you have to
week.
copy paste. I'm saying Saquon Barkley is the ultimate safety net in today's NFL, and Kevin Patullo has him. That's another reason I'm not worried.
Hey, Andrew, it looks like my alma mater has shown up.
Yeah.
On site.
Well, because you're a Hall of Famer, they come to you.
I mean, this is really what's going on here.
We've got
t-shirt and all kinds of gear.
Hashtag Lion for Life, which
Look
is great.
at that.
A new O'Hara Lions hoodie, which is absolutely awesome.
Come on around,
which
guys.
is great. Get on in here.
We're
Get
taking
in here with
pictures.
this.
We're here live on
This
the
is
air.
awesome. This is
We got
fantastic.
Cardinal O'Hara, Hall of Fame members. And,
This is awesome.
You know, I don't see any.
Hold up the sweatshirt,
I don't
Johnny.
see any Rancocas Valley or Clearview representation.
We have a text from
coming out
someone
here.
from RV that we'll get to later in the show.
This
Is
is
that
Delco.
right?
There we go.
All right, so coming up next, Eagles-Rams was already a big game for the storylines that come with it. The conference standings for just these two teams alone is a big reason for it. But now all of a sudden, week 3 has become a big chance for the Eagles to get a step up in the conference. There are a lot of banged-up players and players that could be missing games this weekend. We'll update you on all of that coming up next. It is Kincade Salciunas as we broadcast live from the Rally House here in Springfield, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
And the Eagles have a big playoff rematch following their previous big playoff rematch. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Birds are matching up with the Rams this time, an NFC divisional round rematch from last postseason, I should say. And we got some more good news on yesterday's injury report. Jalen Carter was a full participant after being limited with a shoulder injury earlier in the week. Dallas Goedert's still limited, so his status is in question for Sunday. We'll keep you updated on that. We'll also keep an eye on the Eagles' potential success on offense because it hasn't looked great lately. Tim McManus talked yesterday about opening up the passing game.
You can get some of those matchups one-on-one outside, and I think the Eagles would love the idea of A.J. Brown versus Emmanuel Forbes. It's worked well for them before.
We'll see if that's an upset that the Eagles are going to want to exploit on the outside, if A.J. Brown can take advantage of that. We'll keep an eye on that closely. Phil started a 3-game series against the Diamondbacks. First pitch, 9:40. Ryan Nelson against Taiwan Walker, piggybacking with Walker Buehler. This update's brought to you by Groundworks, your trained and certified experts for basement waterproofing and foundation repair since 1997. Book your free inspection at groundworks.com. I'm Connor Thomas for 97.5 The Fanatic.
Every game.
Kincade,
The 60-year-old teenager.
Andrew
The
Salciunas.
30-year-old senior citizen. Kincade and Salciunas. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
8:26 on this football Friday here on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic, broadcasting live from Rally House in Springfield, in the heart of Delco.
Yes.
Mr. Kincade, John Kincade, his float is outside because the Cardinal O'Hara team already came out here to, celebrate the Hall of Famer.
Well, I appreciate it.
That is John
That's
Kincade.
what you do. You handle these things. That's the way they do things. We do things first class. The undefeated Lions. We're going after it now, trying to get to 5-0 tonight.
Well, good luck. Good luck to Cardinal
Get after
O'Hara.
it.
All right, this weekend is big for many reasons. I've already told you, mentality. I think this game is huge for the patience level of Philadelphia. Everybody can say that they'll be patient, right? Everybody could say before a season starts that we're going to be patient. And then when it doesn't look good for 2 straight weeks, then you're going to start questioning your own patience level. Now, again, John and I were never going to be patient with the offense. We have 10 of 11 starters back, and the one guy that was not a starter played multiple times in Tyler Steen last year, which is why my patience level was not going to be sky high with the Eagles offense. I know that there will be growing pains with the first-time play caller, even though he's been in the league for 18 years, but it's looked not so great. I have not been happy with the offense at all. So this is a big game for my mentality, but it's also a big game for the NFC, guys, because not only are you playing an NFC team that will be playing for one of the top seeds in the NFC. If you look across the NFL right now, there are a lot of injured teams, injured players on teams that will also be fighting for playoff spots in the NFC. I have not seen an official word yet on Jaden Daniels, but Jaden Daniels, it was already reported by Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn himself said it. His play for Sunday is in doubt. Now, granted, it is against the Raiders. They might be able to win that game with Marcus Mariota. We'll see.
And you know who they have, I've told you before, but who they have coming up. At the Falcons, at the Chargers.
So maybe they go, let's be careful this week with his knee, a very young and mobile
AFC
quarterback, AFC game. This could be a game where if we lose, our season's not over. But if they lose, they get handed a loss in the win-loss column. By the way, they'd fall to 1-2 because they already lost once to the Green Bay Packers. J.J. McCarthy, we know, is out. Now, I think we all have the same feeling that we're not totally terrified of the Minnesota Vikings.
I want J.J. back.
Right.
I'm going to light a candle at church tomorrow for J.J. to get back fast for that Eagle game because they will crush J.J. McCarthy.
So we'll see how Carson Wentz plays this Sunday for the Vikings, but the Vikings are already on to their backup quarterback. The Commanders might be on to their backup quarterback. Brock Purdy. Now, you know how I feel. I think Kyle Shanahan can win with Mac Jones because I think Kyle Shanahan is that kind of an offensive mind, and I also don't think Brock Purdy is worthy of $50+ million per season. I've always felt that way, and I think Shanahan can win games with Mac Jones, but who knows? They're not playing the Saints this weekend.
No, they're playing the Cardinals, and I think they're going to lose.
And if they lose,
I think they're going to lose.
That's a big loss, not only for their first loss of the season, it's a conference loss, and the 49ers on paper have the easiest strength of schedule in the NFL this season. Emeka Egbuka pops up on the injury report late in the week for the Buccaneers. No official word if he's not going to be playing, but not only is Egbuka banged up, you've mentioned it, John, the offensive linemen.
3 offensive linemen are not playing
That's
for the Buccaneers,
crazy.
but they're playing the Jets. My guess is, though, Todd Bowles says, same thing. AFC game. Let's see what we can get past this week.
Sure.
And then get ready for the Eagles. They have Eagles, Seahawks, 49ers, Lions, Saints before the bye.
Right.
All NFC games coming up. I think a lot of teams are strategically looking at it as we got to worry about our conference.
Let's not risk this injury. But again, another loss potentially on the schedule. And now Tucker Kraft got banged up also late in practice for the Green Bay Packers. Even though Jordan Love has had success with everybody that he has. I mean, the last game, I think he completed like 9 different players. But Tucker Kraft had the 100-yard day. He had the big game for the Packers last Thursday against the Commanders. So That's 5 teams in the NFC, 5 playoff teams in the NFC. I think the only questionable one is probably the Vikings, right? Like, we all agree, Commanders are a playoff team, Bucks are a playoff team, Packers are a playoff team, 49ers are a playoff team. The Vikings are sort of that bubble team, but that's 5 teams out of 7. Right, out of 7 teams that make the playoffs that are missing key players in their game this Sunday, which means if the Eagles win, one of the teams that isn't banged up that I didn't mention is the other team that we expect to be in the playoffs in the Los Angeles Rams. If you can beat the Rams this Sunday, and if these teams can't overcome the big injuries that they have, the Eagles get another leg up, not just 3-0, but also in the NFC.
I think if the Eagles somehow get out of September 4-0, which could still happen, if they get out 4-0, the only game that could trip them up for home field advantage is the Monday night trip to Green Bay. It'll be for all the marbles. That's the only one that I would see being the game that could trip them up. And with Green Bay having the tougher division, the divisional matchups, it might be it. It might be it. Go win that game, and you're sitting at home.
By the way, if these guys do play, they still might not be 100%. Right. That's why I wanted to go.
Don't know.
I wanted to go through that exercise.
But teams are clearly strategically looking at it as AFC opponents, NFC opponents. That there might be a guy you say, hey, if we were playing a divisional game, this guy plays.
Sure.
And sometimes with the NFL, man, especially when you see injuries like this in the early part of the season, it's just an outlast game. That's the other thing where I look at the Eagles and have patience. I'm like, if you just keep stacking wins, you buy yourself with every single one of those wins more time until you really have to start looking like a playoff team, a deep playoff team, a Super Bowl team, because you might wake up and say, hey, we've got low-pressure games in the middle to mid-late part of our schedule where we can try some of this stuff that we maybe haven't been using in the games that we've needed so far.
Yeah, and look, stacking up wins is important because here's the deal. We said it when the schedules first came out league-wide, not just for the Eagles. Maybe 13 wins is what it'll take to be the 1 seed.
I honestly think 12 is going to get you the 1 seed this year. But 13, I think guarantees
If the Packers keep piling up wins.
Yeah, 13 is going to guarantee it.
Yeah. Like, I don't think it's going to be a 15-win 1 seed and a 14-win wild card team this year like we saw last year in the NFC North. I just don't buy it. All right, what do we got on the text line, Connor? You can text the show, 610-632-0975. This Sunday, is this game going to test your patience when it comes to the Eagles offense? Everybody talks about the 4 weeks of the season. It's the continuation of the preseason because nobody plays in preseason games. It is a new offensive coordinator, first-time offensive coordinator. So a lot of people like to say before kickoff of week 1, I'm going to be patient. And then 2 games play out, and the offense doesn't look great, and I think that patience is dwindling for a lot of people. What do we got on the text line, Kyle?
Matt from Marlton checks in. He follows up his name by saying Red Devils with 2 exclamation marks. So that's an RV guy. It's not just Cardinal O'Hara here on the show.
That's the vacuum that you use to clean out your truck. The Red Devil.
That's the Dust Devil.
That's the Dust Devil.
And Matt says, I need to see this offense kick into gear. Right now it's like watching my 8-year-old daughter's soccer team. We all know what's coming, and the ball never goes more than 10 yards in the air.
Okay, that's a great line. That is a great line.
It is a great line.
That's really well done.
It's just a very, again, I go back to what Orlovsky said earlier, the predictability of the offense, not just because of A.J. Brown's, how many times did he run the same route, John?
11.
11 times A.J. Brown ran the same route.
That's right on the jersey
number. That's pathetic.
But it's not just that. It's underneath or deep shot. Like, that's it. There's nothing in the middle of the field, like the 10 to 15 yard. It's either, hey, let's go with Devontae Smith deep, because it's always Devontae, except for one A.J. Brown pass attempt downfield.
Dotson.
And then it's Dotson. And then it's A.J. Brown slant route and Dallas Goedert right in the middle of the field.
And what it tells you is you have a offensive coordinator. The bubble screens, last night Fitzpatrick talked about it in the pregame show. You're not going to see Pop Warner bubble screen play calls with Josh Allen. This is a sleek Lamborghini offense passing game. What you're seeing is a high school Harry passing game because maybe the offensive coordinator doesn't really have enough pedigree and enough chops.
All right, coming up next, we're going to talk more about the Eagles' defense. We gave Adoree Jackson his flowers on Monday. He deserved it.
We adoried his performance.
It's a much more difficult task this weekend. Can the Eagles' defense be as dominant as they were the last 6 quarters of football, because the Cowboys obviously had their way in the first half of week 1. Can the Eagles' defensive dominance continue from the last 6 quarters and, of course, all of last year that we saw a number 1 ranked defense? This is a big test for them. We'll discuss that coming up next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now, a Birds Insider update on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles are gearing up for their NFC divisional round rematch with the Rams Sunday at 1 p.m. at Lincoln Financial Field. And it's a big-time matchup for guys like Jalen Carter and Dallas Goedert, who seem to be getting healthier as the week goes on. They were both listed as limited on earlier injury reports. Jalen Carter was fully active at practice yesterday, so he should be good to go for the game. We know he played a huge role in the last matchup between these teams in the divisional round, where he made a big-time play to stop the Rams and Matt Stafford and extend the Eagles' postseason run. Dallas Goedert, still being limited, though, puts his status in question for Sunday. And we know that the passing offense has been a major question for the Philadelphia Eagles through the first 2 weeks. Well, Tim McManus of ESPN talked about how the Eagles could open up that passing attack against L.A.
You can get some of those matchups one-on-one outside. And I think the Eagles would love the idea of A.J. Brown versus Emmanuel Forbes. It's worked well for them before.
We'll see if the Eagles are able to execute on that mismatch coming up Sunday at 1 p.m., and we'll see if they're able to win the rematch. It would be their 3rd straight win against those Rams. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Eagles
To. He just had
I'm
to
not
pop
sure
in,
Jen's
pop
a
out.
listener. She's like family to me.
Maybe she listens every once in a while, but I told
That's
you
Jen
guys
Chestnut.
that we were going to meet a listener that is a frequent listener and, of course, a frequent contributor to the show. Our man Joe the Cynic
I
is here.
follow Joe the Cynic.
So that's amazing. We got Kosh here as well. I've been talking to Kosh for years. This is the beauty of doing remotes, being able to come out, see the people, and you know, put the face to the name, or even though I've known Kosh and I've seen Joe's
So
Twitter
you've known
profile.
Kosh?
Yes.
Kosh, I got tears in my eyes a little bit talking to Kosh.
Okay.
I met Kosh at a remote at a rally house at Fairless Hills before the Super Bowl that we lost 57.
Sure.
I remembered meeting Kosh, and that was when I was sick.
Yeah.
Coming off. And my memory lapses, I remembered meeting Kosh. I said, I met you,
That's
and
awesome.
I remembered where I met him. So anytime that my memories come back from that time, I say, that's like a big win. So he must have been a really memorable guy. Now that I know he's been talking to you for years.
Yeah,
and Joe the
exactly.
Cynic is very memorable.
Yes, he is.
I mean, I follow Joe the Cynic.
Yeah.
That's how much I respect Joe the Cynic.
Damn right, man. All right, so the Eagles and the defense. Let's play the clip earlier again. Nate, Tim McManus joined, I guess it was Unfiltered, or was it Ray Dunn? I know he does both. I think he goes on with Ray on Fridays, but so I'm guessing it was Unfiltered. Earlier this week, Tim McManus talked about something that we haven't really been talking much about. We're so focused on the Eagles offense and the woes from the past 6 quarters. Tim McManus earlier this week talking about how he has some worry for the Eagles defense Sunday.
Give me a sec for that. I got to pull it back up.
All right, so we'll get that audio for you momentarily. Tim McManus talked about how it's not a great matchup, and it goes back to Adoree Jackson and what happened in Week 1. So credit to Adoree Jackson for Week 2. I give him a ton of credit, especially the way people were talking about him after Week 1. There were a lot of people that wanted him DFA'd, or not DFA'd, released. I got baseball in the brain. They wanted him released. Oh, get him out of town. Give it to Jacorian Bennett. Jacorian Bennett, we haven't really seen much of it all to have that sort of an opinion. But I know it was bad Week 1. Like, he was getting cooked against CeeDee Lamb. And then whenever they moved CeeDee Lamb over, he was getting cooked by George Pickens. It's another big duo in terms of wide receivers in Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams as well. And so this is a big test for Adoree Jackson. It's a big test for rookie safety Drew Makuba. Here was Tim McManus earlier this week.
The first thing that goes into my mind is Adoree Jackson. He did okay against the Chiefs, did not have a great game against Dallas. And now you're going up against probably the best 1-2 that you're going to face all season. Doesn't get much better than Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. I just got done watching their game against the Titans. And number one, Stafford is not getting hit a whole lot. He's like 37 years old, but he's still kind of wily and finds a way like to roll to a spot where the pressure isn't, and that allows the routes to develop downfield. And Nacua and Adams are just able to take advantage of their one-on-one matchups and really make some hay with it. So I don't know that it's a great matchup, honestly, for the Eagles, given what they can do to the secondary. I think this is a really big test. The way that Vic Fangio put it this week, when I asked him about Jackson, when he was like, I thought he did better in Week 2, and hopefully that kickstarts him into being a good corner for us. I mean, this would be as big a spot as any. If they can sort of stay buttoned up defensively in that secondary and allow the front four to do its work, that's a recipe for success. But that's still a big question mark heading into this matchup.
So my question for you guys is your confidence level in the defense this week. And now hear me out. We expected there to be points in the Eagles-Cowboys game. Like, I think we all said over, and if there wasn't a lightning delay for an hour, it was on pace for the over. Like, it was.
Yeah, my BetParks app did not accept that as a reason for letting me have a win.
Right, because it fell short by a point?
Yeah, and you were at that with 3 minutes left.
Half,
right, exactly. And so the over doesn't hit, but it looked like it was going toward that direction. Last week, great job by the Eagles defense slowing down Patrick Mahomes, but they don't have anybody for Patrick Mahomes to throw to. Matt Stafford is still a very good quarterback at his age, and he has people to throw to. And I don't believe, again, not a meteorologist, there's no snow in the forecast.
No, it's going to be beautiful.
And I don't think there's any lightning in the forecast, so I don't think there will be any lightning delays to help slow down the opposition. That secondary was troublesome Week 1. This is why the Eagles' offense must be good on Sunday, because I don't think you're just going to stop the Rams after scoring 3 straight drives for the rest of the game, if that does play out that way.
No, I'm thinking I'm going to bet this. How about I'm going to look at the first half over, and I'm going to bet the Eagles first half over.
Okay.
If the number is 13.5, which I'm thinking it might probably
is.
end up
That's
being there,
usually
something
fair.
like that, 12.5, 13.5, I'm going to bet Eagles first half over. That's how much I think the offense is going to give a little bit of breathing room, because I think Kevin Patullo is going to show us a little bit. I think he's tired of hearing dopes like me say, "What's this guy got?" Maybe he's going to show us this.
Sure, I hope so.
Yeah, you guys are in a different spot with me again with this, because I did not come out of that Chiefs game and say, "Great job, Adoree Jackson." I didn't. I watched that game, and that's the equivalent of if the Eagles had played the Chiefs week 1 and lost bad, and then they played the Panthers week 2 and they beat them, and we come out of that game and we say, "Great job, Eagles. You guys look awesome." No, who is he covering in week 2 against the Chiefs? I get it's Mahomes, but now you're coming back and you're seeing Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, and I'm not very comfortable with Adoree Jackson.
I still say good job, though.
Thing is, though, listen to what I'm saying to you is, if the offense does their job, then that's going to let Vic Fangio call a different game defensively.
Exactly.
Sure.
So if this game is a knife fight played in a phone booth, then he has to call a completely different game, where I'm much more worried about Adoree Jackson.
Yeah,
if the offense can open things up and get them if they can get if they get a 10-point lead at some point in this game, a 14-point lead, then I believe Vic Fangio can call a defense that, to me, is much more accommodating.
The bend but don't break.
Yes. All due respect, though, I'm not convinced that this guy can cover a top 20 wide receiver in the NFL. And he might be seeing 2 of them.
All right, then this goes back to the patience conversation with the offense. Then you need to see it this weekend.
And you can't have patience with the offense.
Listen to yourself talk.
I've told you guys, and you disagreed with me, but you need to remember I'm on the opposite side of this argument. I told you I would have more patience with the offense and less with the defense, and I am keeping that energy. So you guys have to allow me to keep that energy and understand we're on different pages.
You're insane. The voice of reason, my ass.
Can I say, by the way, here as you're sitting in the heart of Delco, did either one of you take the blue route today to get here? 476.
No, maybe.
You did not when you came out 476 to come up here?
I don't know. It was 4:30.
I just followed my math.
It's just a little Delco trivia for you. They had the first hearing for it to announce the blue route in 1961. They started construction in 1966. The blue route opened in 1991.
Took a while.
Because a stretch of the blue route through Broomall was not allowed to be constructed. It had a 16-year legal fight that went to the Supreme Court.
The boys needed their smoke breaks.
My town stopped it. Wow. So I'm sorry about that.
You should be.
Yeah, it took them 30 years to build it.
Coming up next, before we do our pick segment, before I ask this specific question for Kevin Nagandi, who joins us coming up at 9:10, I want to ask you, is any part of you rooting for someone on Sunday? I saw someone in our YouTube chat earlier this week say it, and I wrote it down because I wanted to save it for Friday. I wonder if they were alone. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Stafford comes to town. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles are gearing up for a big NFC divisional round rematch with the Rams at the Link. That means that Matthew Stafford and company, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, will come into Philadelphia looking to knock off the 2-0 Birds. The Rams 2-0 themselves. The Eagles should have Jalen Carter on Sunday. He was a full participant in practice yesterday, but Dallas Goedert was still limited. So we'll keep you updated on the tight end status ahead of the matchup. We'll also keep you updated on the potential for the offense to break out. Tim McMahon has talked about a potential mismatch for A.J. Brown.
You can get some of those matchups one-on-one outside. And I think the Eagles would love the idea of A.J. Brown versus Emmanuel Forbes. It's worked well for them before.
We'll keep an eye on that for Sunday. We'll also keep an eye on the Phillies, who start a 3-game series with the Diamondbacks tonight. First pitch of Game 1, 9:40. Ryan Nelson versus Taijuan Walker, who's piggybacking with Walker Buehler. This update is brought to you by our friends over at Discover. Do you know what's accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide? If you guess Discover, you guess right, based on the February 2024 Nielsen report. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
The Philadelphia
comfortable when I come in here because I know it's my people, and I love it. Now, I have a question for you guys. I saw it on our YouTube chat, and I forgot who said it, and I apologize. That is my bad. But somebody in our YouTube chat earlier in the week when it came out that J.J. McCarthy would not be playing on Sunday put in our YouTube chat, part of me is rooting for Carson Wentz. And I wonder, is there any part of you rooting for the individual? Obviously not the Vikings, because the Vikings are a team in the NFC. Who knows if they catch fire? They have a very good head coach. They have a very good defense. They have very good weapons. They might just be a quarterback away, which is J.J. McCarthy. And I'm not saying he stinks. It's just he's played 2 games.
I hope they lose 35-34 and Carson Wentz throws for 4 touchdowns.
So you're that quick to it.
Carson Wentz is absolutely one of the 3 legs of the stool that gave me my first Super Bowl here as an Eagles fan.
I know. And
I will never, ever root against him except if he is trying to beat my team that day. Or, look, I want the Vikings buried a little bit because they still could be dangerous with those weapons.
That defense is really
I
good.
hope he has the day of his life and they lose by 1.
Sure, I really liked my high school girlfriend, but if she calls me right now and asks me to go to dinner, no, I have no more connection to that man at this moment.
Are you
right
sure?
Now.
I don't know. It's not like your prospects are like crazy right now.
You want to bet? 610-632-0975. But no, my thing with Carson is I don't root against the guy, but I don't have anything in me that sees him play football and say, I want him to succeed. Like, I don't know.
And it's funny because, John, you immediately say yes.
Not even a question. I'm rooting for it.
I don't, but even though you and I talked about this earlier this week, I want him at the 10-year 2017 Super Bowl reunion.
Yeah,
I want him to be on the field with his teammates where a lot of them don't like him. But, I want him on that field because, to your point, he got you to a position to have home field advantage, and we know how important that was. So when I think back on Carson Wentz, I'm no longer thinking about what could have been. I know what it is now. Clearly not a great teammate in multiple areas.
Correct.
Clearly still has that hero ball mentality, and I wonder if Minnesota fans end up hating him by halftime on Sunday.
After watching J.J. McCarthy, they may just love him, though.
Could you imagine quarterback controversy?
Look, I love, and we talked about it. I am a sucker. I am a poor judge of character. I've told you that. You know that.
That's why you like us.
I'm not a good judge of character. I love a redemption story, and I love celebrating redemption stories. And I think he's a guy who needs a redemption story because he was a bad teammate.
Yeah.
And he was a bad teammate, and I got a buddy of mine in the Colts organization who told me horror stories about how he was a total pain in the backside to everybody that he had to deal with.
I think the amazing thing is if people still believe that there's that redemption story. This is not whether you believe it.
I'm always going to believe that it's there for everybody. I'm just sort of wired that way that somebody could say to me, this person can turn it around and can be a different person.
Yeah, but redemption as a person versus a player.
No, but the thing is, though,
two different things.
The talent's always there.
I don't think it is.
But you know what? When he was on that Commanders team where you and I made the trip, Philly sports trips, the 1,000 fans that took over FedEx Field, he had a rookie Jahan Dotson. He had Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, but what did he have? He had a horrible offensive line.
Yeah, and he got sacked. He got sacked 8 times.
That was not Carson Wentz that day.
But the Colts, he had weapons. He had his guy. He had a head coach. He had Frank Reich, right? Every single place he's gone to, he's kind of been in a situation up until last year when he played for the Chiefs the last game and they benched everybody.
They benched everybody. People are like, he couldn't win with Andy Reid. That is such a garbage
that one's not true.
Andy, he couldn't win with the backups of the Chiefs. Yes, he couldn't.
I just wonder how many of you out there, you can also text in for this conversation at 610-632-0975. Is any part of you rooting for the individual that is Carson Wentz? We'll speak to Kevin Agandi coming up in about 10 minutes on that as you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN H21 Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media station broadcasting through the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities.
Time now for the Kincade Salciunas Re-Rack.
A better place to start your football Friday before a weekend, before a monster game, John, between the Eagles and Rams. Back-to-back weeks where the Eagles have a rematch game, a revenge game.
Yeah, you're clear.
Last week, taking down the Chiefs again after beating them in the Super Bowl just 7 months ago. And now this Sunday at 1 o'clock, another big circle the schedule, circle the calendar game. When the schedule came out back in May, the Eagles and Rams, a rematch of the divisional round of the playoffs. We all remember the snow. There will be no snow this Sunday at 1 o'clock. I think I can confirm that, and I'm not a meteorologist.
Yeah, I think you're fine with the no snow forecast. And honestly, I'm more baffled as to why the schedule makers didn't make this game a 4:30 game on Fox or a primetime game. Because this is, honestly, if you're looking at it, are the Rams not one of the 3 or 4 teams that could go to the Super Bowl out of the NFC?
They absolutely are.
And how do you let a rematch of that great divisional playoff series game, how do you let that end up being a 1 o'clock game on a Sunday afternoon?
Probably because the league said, all right, we already have like 9 Eagles games on Fox America's Game of the Week or prime time, so we got to spread it around a little bit.
Yeah, but we got like Eagles Bears on a standalone game on Black Friday.
Yeah.
That makes no sense to me when you've got this game being played at 1 o'clock. But I can't wait for this one because I really do. I have a ton of respect for the Rams, but as of right now, and it's going to sound, it might sound stupid Sunday at 4:30, but I don't see the Rams being the echelon of the Eagles. I just don't. And everything I look at this game, where you had the confidence last Friday.
Oh yeah,
I have that real strong confidence that the Eagles are coming away with a victory on Sunday.
Well, I'm glad that you have it because I've been a little worried so far this week. I have not oozed the confidence that I oozed all last week. Monday morning of last week, I was saying, yeah, the Eagles are going to beat the Chiefs. I don't feel that way. And this week, I don't have that same air of confidence, but I'm glad you do.
A couple questions I got for you on that. Just real quick fire questions. Home versus away. So last week you were all chesty. Mm-hmm. It was chest day all week.
Yeah,
home versus away. This game's at home.
Mm-hmm.
Stafford, an easier opponent than Mahomes, correct?
Yeah, but who was Mahomes throwing to versus who Stafford is throwing?
I got you. McVay, Andy Reid. Andy Reid, tougher opponent to coach against than McVay, right? I'm surprised. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say, and I think there's a lot of people like you that are wary about this game. I look at it as every single thing to me points to an Eagles victory.
And I love that. I love that you're saying it, and that's going to make me happy. And I need you to hold me up today.
Okay, I'll prop you up a little bit.
And we'll get to our predictions later on the show and everything. But look, ultimately, I can't wait for the game because it's Eagles Rams. And with all the talk after the Eagles beat the Rams, it wasn't as loud as the 49ers back in 23.
And they weren't saying that the Eagles were illegitimate or anything.
No, and
like San Francisco was saying the Eagles were illegitimate.
Right. The only thing that the Rams players were saying was, all right, well, what if it wasn't snowing? Maybe we would have had a better game, which, well, it didn't snow earlier in the season when you two played each other, and the Eagles won, and they ran, and they won on the back of Saquon Barkley. But here's the deal, John. Even though you have told me time and time again that this week actually screams a Saquon Barkley game because of the rushing yards he had last year against the Rams.
Yeah, 8.9 yards a touch.
Which is amazing.
A touch.
And the rushing yards that so far the Rams have allowed to 2 lesser teams, the Texans who don't have an offensive line in week 1, the Titans who are the Titans. Tony Pollard had a nice week last week, so it does still scream Saquon Barkley. I have a question today. Even though we're going to be breaking down the game, right? We're going to have our man Kevin Agandi on later. We have so many talking points for this game itself. I have an Eagles fan mentality question. Is this game a game that will test your patience? Because so far through the first 2 weeks of the season, despite the Eagles being 2-0, which all that matters is winning at this point, Jalen Hurts will tell you that till he's blue in the face. All that matters is winning, but we've seen the offense been lackluster. And I do believe the offense must be better this Sunday against the Rams. And because I've not seen it yet is kind of the reason why I feel the way that I feel right now. But will this Sunday's game, for the audience listening at 610-632-0975, for you, John, and for when we get to Connor, is this a game that will test your patience? Do you need to see the offense, specifically the passing offense, look more dominant in this game?
Well, I think that's fair. I mean, because it's been the talking point all week long. And Kevin Patullo is on the clock. And whether his apologists want to line up and say we're supposed to be patient or not, I do not look at go to the Little League field. Where will Coop be playing?
I'll be playing for the Sewell Rail Dogs.
He'll be playing for the Sewell Rail Dogs. Okay, well
that's the local team. He's going to go to
okay.
18 travel teams too.
Oh, of course, yeah, because to get him ready to be the next Mike Trout. There should be no patience for. I'm telling you, there should be no patience for Kevin Petullo because again. This was a decision that was made by Nick Sirianni to toss the keys to this man, Howie Roseman, to toss the keys to Kevin Petullo. If the Eagles had offered and said to the top offensive minds in college football, the top offensive coordinators in college football, and you had went to the top 5 names, young guys in college football, and said, hey, would you like to come and be the offensive coordinator for the Eagles? I promise you 3 of 5 would have answered the call.
Right.
Would have gone, wait a minute. I can go to the Super Bowl champion team and be their offensive coordinator. That could get me a head coaching job in the NFL. They would have jumped at it. So to me, the Eagles didn't even interview for a job. They didn't go outside. They didn't interview. They didn't go and say, who's the best and brightest minds? Because people will say to you, well, it was late in the process because it was, they made the Super Bowl, so they couldn't interview. No.
So just
they didn't go to the college ranks. And they could have hired any of the brightest offensive minds in college. They tossed the keys to Petullo. It's time that he shows up, and I believe he will round into shape. I'm just not going to be patient while it goes on. There's no reason to be patient. This isn't a learn-on-the-job position. They're the Super Bowl champs, and the roster's loaded. Get on your horse.
Well, Nick Sirianni might tell you that it is a learn-on-the-job sort of position. Here was Sirianni earlier in the week reminding the people how many games are played during the regular season.
We got to remember that this is a 17-game season and not to overreact on things that have happened just through the first 2 games. We found ways to win the first 2 games, and we know we have to get better at a lot of things, but there's a progression to it, and so that's what our goal is and our focus is right now.
And look, I'm glad that you won your first 2 games, and I'm glad that you found ways to win. When we had reporters asking A.J. Brown, do you believe this is sustainable? And he straight up says it's a fair question.
That is a fair question.
And before anybody starts freaking out, this is not A.J. Brown causing trouble. This is not us trying to say that A.J. Brown is causing trouble. We agree with A.J. Brown that it is a fair conversation to have about whether or not the offense that you see in the first 2 weeks can be sustainable to winning over the course of the season. I keep on bringing up 2023, not because I think that's how it's going to go, but I remember that team starting 10-1. I remember them fighting for every single yard. The amount of pushes that we saw in 2023, we're already seeing it so far in 2025, where they are fighting for first downs. I'm not talking about getting into the red zone. They're fighting for first down after first down after first down.
Were they 7 the other day or whatever?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. So that's why I asked the question today at 610-632-0975. Is this a game that will test your patience? Because it's going to test mine. If I see again bubble screens and fighting for every single yard, and at halftime I see Jalen Hurts' 60 passing yards again, I'm going to once again say, what the hell's going on here? This is now 3 weeks.
Last night on the Thursday Night Football broadcast on Amazon, they were talking about, there was something on the pregame show with the Ivy League quarterback. Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, Fitzmagic.
And he talked about bubble screens.
Yeah.
He made a comment about bubble screens, and he goes, bubble screens are the pop. He said something about with the Buffalo Bills offense, you're not seeing the Pop Warner passing plays.
Yeah.
Pop Warner offenses are using the bubble screens and everything. He goes, this is an elite, sleek Lamborghini passing game.
Right.
Why would the Eagles not have that?
Yeah,
with the best offensive line, with Devontae Smith, with A.J. Brown, you shouldn't have to have a pop gun passing.
Now, last week could have been the game plan against the Chiefs, which that was talked about by Kevin Petullo himself. But this weekend, it's not the Chiefs' defense that we're talking about.
30 seconds left, and then
we want to
John
hear
has
from
to
you
read.
at 610-632-0975. Is this a game that will test your patience, regardless of how it's going to play out? Eagles could win 17-10 again, and that's 3-0. But that means the offense, once again, didn't do much. So coming up next, we'll hear from you on this discussion. Also, much of the talk this week has been about the Eagles' offense. Are we missing something with the defense? We'll discuss that next as Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown.
975thefanatic.com for details.
Kincade and Salciunas.
Today's talk show, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
The final hour of Kincade and Salciunas is presented to you by The Bagster. It's a dumpster in a bag. You can get yours today at Home Depot and Lowe's. You need details? Go to Bagster.com.
All right, joining us now on the Comcast Business Hotline, where every day is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. Our man from ESPN, the great Kevin Negandhi, joins us. Kevin, good morning. How are we doing today, brother?
Good morning, fellas. How we doing?
So we're doing well. It's been somewhat of a contentious show because there are people that are patient. There are people that are not patient. So I want to ask you the question that we have been asking the audience this morning. Is this Sunday's game a game that will test your patience? I know a lot of people keep on saying, hey, give Kevin Patullo time, but we also realize that this is a defending Super Bowl team that needs to stack up wins, especially against conference teams like the Rams. So is this a game that will test your patience on Sunday?
Yes, it will, but I'm going to go in a different angle on why it will test my patience. Patullo, I do have patience, but one of the things, it just looks just like what it did at the start of 2023, right? And I heard you guys on the broadcast, and it really stood out to me that, yeah, some of this stuff has, fingerprints of winning ugly, no one really happy, don't feel good, you start 10-1, but we all knew that there were some issues with the offense getting any separation. My frustration will be trying to figure out that second cornerback position. That to me, especially when you have Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua. Nacua's playing like he's the number one wide receiver in the league right now. Yeah. And that team has so many explosive options. I'm more worried about, hey, are they going to come out there looking for Adoree Jackson? If Jackson's not out there, are they looking for Ringo or Bennett? And just Matthew Stafford's a really smart quarterback, and we don't have snow to help us. We don't have conditions to help us in a game like this. You got to move him around because he's going to be a statue back there, and can you apply some pressure with Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis?
Here's what I thought, though, earlier, Kevin, is I want the offense to give Vic Fangio the opportunity to be able to execute a game plan where they're playing from the lead for, a little bit of a breather. Get up by a couple scores. Be able to unleash a pass rush a little bit where you feel a little bit more comfortable. Be able to maybe set it up where you do a bend, don't break because you're up by 14, 10. I need this offense to help the defense.
I would be shocked if they're up by 14 points, especially the way this offense has looked the first 2 weeks. And I think the Rams, Saquon Barkley rushed for 534 yards last year just against the Rams alone in his 2 games. And I think they learned their lesson because when you see 4 runs of over 60 yards, I don't think they're going to stack the box. Because here's the thing, when Barkley's patient running, he thrives. He actually enjoys if they stack the box because of one thing. When he's patient and he breaks a little crack there's no one in the secondary that can catch him. And I don't think the Rams are going to stack the box this week like we saw in those 2 games. And that's why he had those big runs. Because if you notice that he gets behind a tackle and he finds a seam, and then when he breaks out on that, 62, the 78, the 72-yard runs, there's no one back there, right? Because the safeties have moved up into the box and created all that traffic. I just don't think there's going to be a 2-touchdown lead for the Eagles in a game like this. I haven't seen enough to believe it.
Kevin, you and I are on the exact same page right now. So the reason why this show has been contentious today is because we're on remote. So normally, when we are at the friendly confines of One Bala Plaza, there is a thick sheet of glass in between me and producer Connor Thomas. But unfortunately, for today's sake, he is sitting
right with us.
3 inches to my right. His knee keeps on touching my leg, and it's bothering me.
It's like Cousin Eddie's sitting right here at the Christmas table at dinner.
So, Kevin, Connor wants to talk to you because Connor is Mr. Patient to the point where it's pissing me off a little bit. Go ahead, Connor.
Kevin, does it feel to you like with that Brian Johnson comparison, I think it's fair, but how much does the Saquon Barkley quotient change it for this year where you feel like at least Kevin Patullo has that safety valve of this run game that maybe Brian Johnson didn't?
That's completely fair. You have the best running back on the planet there for you. So I think that's why I feel a little bit more comfortable and I'm preaching patience. I also believe coming into the season that this was going to be a 2-2 split this month. They've got the 2 wins already. If they can split the next 2 games and come out of this month 3-1 with wins against potentially the Bucks or Rams, man, that's a great position to be in going into October. And I've told you guys from the beginning, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. And really that first month is preseason, trying to get everybody right, trying to figure everything out together. And when you have a new play caller like this who's, doing it for the first time, I'm just preaching patience here. I don't think they were given any favors here with the scheduling gods. And if you could split the next 2 weeks, and there is a certain, I think, hey, you may have to win this game considering the nightmare that they've faced with Todd Bowles, Temple Proud, the last 4 or 5 years with Jalen Hurts, especially going down to Tampa. It feels like we play them every year down in Tampa. Maybe you need to get a win like this. And keep in mind, the Eagles are 5-1 against Sean McVay. Mm-hmm. You don't think Sean McVay is fully aware of that? They have found a way to beat him multiple ways, and I think that stays in the back of the Rams' mind, and they're pretty ticked off, especially that defense, considering what they did to them.
You know what hasn't changed, Kevin, though, since last January? You know what hasn't changed in any of those other matchups with Sean McVay? The defensive front of the Rams, which is still very talented, is still not going to be able to physically handle the Eagles' offensive front. I personally do believe, and I hope to be able to text you when it happens on Sunday, I do believe the Eagles will at one point be up by those 2 scores. And I think the physical nature, the physicality of the Eagles will once again be the reason that they send Sean McVay home with a loss. I think I love that. That can't. I think that's the one thing that all the scheming and all the plays can't be overcome. You can draw up everything you want, but I don't think that's going to be able to be overcome.
But then, you know what that would show, I think, the entire region that is on pins and needles, that Patullo can call a game. That's what this comes down to. Can you call a game? Can you scheme it enough? Can you get some separation? Orlovsky had some great breakdown earlier in the week. Can you get some separation with A.J. Brown and him not running the same pattern over and over and over again? And let's see less predictability. Listen, man-on-man, offensive line, no one's better. Saquon Barkley, no one's better. But you also have to get a little creative with the passing game, and hopefully we do that.
All right, Kevin, lastly, I just asked Connor and John this question because I saw we broadcast our show also on YouTube. So we have people that are constantly commenting throughout the show, and we always appreciate our YouTube audience. And earlier this week, I saw somebody say, I'm not going to lie, part of me is rooting for him, the individual. And that him is Carson Wentz. I will ask you, does any bit of you still root for him as the individual, not the Vikings, but Carson Wentz?
Not at all. No offense to Carson Wentz, but this is business. This is the business of the NFL. He's on his 5th different team since he left Philadelphia. I think we've all moved on. I'm still blown away that now he's potentially going to start for 6 straight years with a 6 different team. That is, I would have never predicted that in my life. But especially how ugly it was. I felt like at the end, the Eagles tried to make it right. They did everything they could. They sent messages to him multiple times that this is your team. At a certain point, though, notice I said one word, team. It's a team. It's not just about you. And I know you felt isolated with how Foles did what he did, but I think over the years and hearing more and more former players and listen, Carson Wentz was fantastic. That MVP type year before the injury, he was incredible. And, when he came back, and I know he came back a little bit earlier and his body was beat up and he did everything he could and he didn't have a lot of options to throw the football the next year, and then the Clowney hit, and that's tough for him. He did all he could. But I thought the Eagles front office, Howie and company and Jeffrey did all they could to assure him, hey, we still believe in you. We still want to make this about you and your team, and this is your team. And he had moved on. So he moved on. I think many fans should move on. And it feels like we should have moved on because we've been to 2 Super Bowls since and we won one.
Kevin, we always enjoy our conversation, and I love that you are trying to preach patience, but I also know how you will be come 1 o'clock on Sunday, just like every other Philadelphian. You will be screaming, "Go Birds," and if it's not looking great, you'll be screaming, "Boo," or "Run the ball." I know it's coming. We
Listen,
appreciate the time as always, brother.
I will be saying, please, can we figure out the second cornerback position? That's where my patience is a little thin. So, but I believe in Uncle Vic, so we'll see how this plays out with the defense.
You're the man, Kev. We'll talk to you again next week. Enjoy yourself this weekend. There's our man, Kevin Nagandi from ESPN. All right, coming up next, pick segment. I need a freaking bounce back. I've had 2 bad weeks.
You did not have 2. You had 2 losing weeks last year.
And I've had 2 losing weeks to start the season. That's great. All right, try to fix that coming up next. Well, I guess I'm going last because, I don't have the honors. Pick segment comes your way next year on Kincade Salciunas 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Another big rematch for the Birds. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles are gearing up for a big NFC divisional round rematch with the Rams at the Link. We got some more good news on the injury report yesterday. Jalen Carter, after being limited earlier this week with a shoulder injury, was a full participant in practice, so he seems like he'll be good to go. Dallas Goedert's still limited, so his status is up in the air for Sunday's rematch. And what is not up in the air is the Eagles' offense. No, they have not thrown the ball well. Tim McManus of ESPN talked about how they could potentially exploit a mismatch for A.J. Brown on Sunday.
You can get some of those matchups one-on-one outside, and I think the Eagles would love the idea of A.J. Brown versus Emmanuel Forbes. It's worked well for them before.
So we'll see if that's a mismatch they again exploit. We'll keep an eye on that closely on Sunday. Phil started a 3-game series versus the Diamondbacks tonight out in Arizona. First pitch, 9:40. Ryan Nelson faces Taiwan Walker, who's piggybacking with Walker Buehler. This update is brought to you by Family and Company Jewelers. Viraggio Bridal Show, October 9th through the 11th. This is your chance to save hundreds, maybe even thousands on the ring of her dreams. Family and Company Jewelers, South Jersey's diamond destination. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
up-to-the-minute Eagles, Sixers, Phillies, Flyers, and Union commentary.
Head to Google Play or the Apple App Store now and download our free app.
This isn't your great-grandpa's sports talk show. This is today's talk show.
Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
It is 9:30 here on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic on this Football Friday as we broadcast live from Rally House here in Springfield on Baltimore Pike. We absolutely love the team at Rally House, and we love our man Benny from Montgomeryville who made the trip over here. Benny,
Yes,
real
did.
quick, before we do our pick segment, can you please just do the Eagles chant for everybody in Delco to hear? Go ahead, scream it.
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles, go Birds, we're beating the Rams on Sunday.
Damn right. There's our man Benny.
See, there's no hesitation from Benny. Benny doesn't have any of this. Let's be patient. Let's
Saying going out there, go out there and win.
Have this little training wheels on him. I love Benny's attitude.
Benny's
Get
the
out
best.
there. They're winning. You hear that? Everything in the affirmative. They're winning.
And a lot
on
of
Sunday.
you will see Benny walking into Lincoln Financial
Oh, yes,
Field
you
on
will.
Sunday.
Well, you're going to hear him, I guarantee.
Hell yeah, you will.
If he's in your section or if you're 2 sections over, you're going to hear him.
All right, Nate, can you hit us with some football music here as we are going to do our pick segment like we do every single week? I am not doing well. I am,
You're 2 and
6. Yeah, 1-3 back-to-back weeks.
Last year, I was wrong. You had 3 losing weeks last year.
All right.
You have had 2 losing weeks to start this year, which is shocking because you had a great year of that.
That means,
it's a real shame.
that means I can only lose 1 week the rest
Connor
of the way.
has had a winning week and a losing week.
No. I've had a winning week and an even week.
And an even week.
So what's the
Well, that's
overall?
not a
What do we
winning
got? What are our overall records?
A 5-3 for Connor, 4-4 for me, 2-6 for you.
All right, well, who had the best week last
I
week?
did.
John Kincade. So, John Kincade, your honor.
All right, 2 bets in the Eagles game, and I told you all week long, so I haven't kept any problem for you here. Bet the Eagles minus the 3.5. Bet the over 44.5. Eagles-Rams games tend to always be in the 20s for both teams. So for the most part, so I love the over 44.5. It's going to be perfect conditions, too, for the game. I'm going to give you 2 here in the late games. I love the Cardinals getting 2.5 points at the 49ers. I've told you all year long, I've had a feeling about the Cardinals that they're going to be one of the surprise teams in football.
Scrappy.
They've gotten off to a 2-0 start. I have a feeling that the 49ers, it's been a little shaky. I'll take the 2.5 points with the Cardinals on the road at San Francisco, and I will lay the 2.5 points with the Chargers at home versus Denver. I've been one of those people telling you all along that I'm not a big believer that the Denver Broncos are ready to make the jump this year into being a Super Bowl contender. I'll lay the Chargers. Chargers go to 3-0.
Yeah, who was saying Super Bowl contender for
Oh my gosh,
Broncos?
they were picked for the divisional playoffs by almost every expert on ESPN to make it to the
I like the
divisional.
Denver team. I didn't see
Yeah,
Super
not that
Bowl
much.
at all.
Terrible.
All right, Connor, what do we got?
All right, so we're going to start off with the Sunday night game, and I love this one. Chiefs need a statement win, and I know they haven't looked great, but they're going into New York to face those Giants, and if they don't cover the 6, wow, I'll be surprised. Chiefs minus 6.
I'll let you have even better.
Okay.
To avoid the push, I too have the Chiefs. And my
5.5.
friends at FanDuel, I got it at 5.5. So
I have it at
you
5.5
can lock it in
also.
at 5.5.
That's even better. I'm running to the books to book that
Doesn't
one.
that make you concerned, guys?
No,
that
not
it's 5.5?
remotely. No, I think the Chiefs haven't looked good, but this is one of those gut check games for them where if you don't cover here and beat the brakes off the Giants, they're a real problem.
I also don't see Russell Wilson throwing for 400 yards against the Chiefs defense.
Let's ride.
We're going to go with the Chargers minus 2.5 hosting the Denver Broncos. The
Same
Broncos
thing.
have looked all right, but yeah, I like the Chargers to cover that. I think they're legit this year. And we're also going to go Falcons minus 5.5 on the road. Divisional game. But the Carolina Panthers stink. They're not covering that number. The Falcons are covering the 5.5. And then I can't find the number on this one. Maybe you can help me out here, Andy. But I want Bill Krosky-Merritt's over in rushing yards. I'm not sure what the number is. I don't care what the number is. I don't think Jaden Daniels is playing this weekend.
And a run, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to use the ground game a lot. So those are my 4 again. Chiefs minus 5.5, Chargers minus 2.5, Falcons minus 5.5, and Bill Krosky-Merritt, his over and run.
All right, I'll try to find the official number for you.
We'll
I
get that.
will tell you
We'll
right
get
now, as much as I understand your thinking, the Raiders' rush defense is good.
It's
so
very
we'll
stout.
see.
That's a good one,
Screw
though.
'em. All right, I too have Chiefs minus 5.5.
Gotcha.
I am going to go with, I hate doing it, but the Dallas Cowboys in Chicago, 1.5 point favorites.
I almost took the Bears. I almost took the Bears.
we'll see who Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson are. They had a good first drive against the Lions last week, and then that was about it.
I thought they had 2 drives, didn't they?
Then 2 drives.
Once
and then that
the
was
script ends,
yeah,
that's where it gets bad.
Yeah, Mr. All I Care About is explosive plays. I think the Dallas Cowboys bounce back. They are 1.5-point favorites. So I'm going to go Chiefs 5.5, Cowboys 1.5. I will go with the over for Amon-Ra St. Brown's receiving yards. He's at 71.5. That is going to be a very, very exciting game.
71.5?
Yep, between the Lions and the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens secondary I thought was going to be a lot better. It has not looked so far so good. Obviously, against the Browns, that's one thing. But the game against the Bills, it was a crazy second half. Lastly, I will go with the over in that game, which is 52.5. I think it's going to be 2 high-powered offenses, and we won't be talking much about the defense. So
Chiefs, you're saying over 52.
Over 52.5 between the Lions and the Ravens.
That one really was a really nice one. Hey, our friends from Parks and Bet Parks bring you the pick segment every single week. The Bet Parks app is so awesome. It's so easy to use. I love it for college football, pro football, and, of course, for Red October. So get in on the Bet Parks app now. Download it. So many spectacular ways to win. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Damn right. All right, so those are our picks. I need to bounce back, man. 2-6.
Yeah, you need to.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's so funny you picked the Cowboys game because I was really close to picking the Bears. I really wanted to pick the Bears.
Hey, you guys are sickos for even considering touching that game.
No, it's weird. It's just I've had a feeling on the Bears all week that the Bears are ready to.
Look, the way my picks have been going, you might be on the right side of history.
No, I'm not, and I'm not taking a shot of your picks because I think you're going to bounce back very, very strong.
Thanks, Connor.
I think you're going to bounce back strong.
Thanks, Connor. This is my number one support team.
There we go.
You're welcome. Just like my wife. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, she's just
all right, coming up next. Well, we got one more segment left to play, which means official predictions. All right. Can't wait.
Here we go.
Can't wait to be the enemy of the world. We'll do our predictions, in-game predictions, the game itself, and, of course, we'll continue to check our text line. Is this game going to test your patience? It is going to test the patience of Kevin Nagandi, but he's looking at it from the defensive side of things. Ultimately, is this a patience test game? We'll discuss more of that with you. Coming up next is Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Unfiltered with Ricky Bo, Bill
All Friday, Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic, as we broadcast live from Rally House in Springfield on Baltimore Pike. It's been a lot of fun meeting a lot of great listeners, seeing old friends. It's been a great time. And it's been great to be out on the road, especially in a place like this where I want to buy everything.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I could do damage in here. And it stinks because my birthday and Christmas are 2 days apart. So I get, like, my gifts.
Oh, I know.
I get my gifts 2 days apart.
I know.
And Haley's looking at me like, well, get off your wallet. I know you have some money. But I'm very frugal.
My parents were always pretty good with we'll make the fun present the birthday present, and then like Christmas was like, you need a pair of khakis. Here's a pair of khakis. Because I'm 6 days apart.
Come on, man.
Yeah, you're 6 days apart like my daughter.
So I know that pain of being the close to Christmas baby. I totally get it.
Skill issue.
Oh, you get presents twice.
Haley's holding up her phone to me like from across the room,
As
thinking
if
I
you
can
could
read
see
it.
anything. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Like I can read that.
All right, so real quick, we have Phillies Diamondbacks before we even get into the Eagles. We're going to do our predictions here momentarily. We have not talked any Phillies today. They were off yesterday.
People understand.
Yeah, they were off yesterday. It's a football Friday, so we have not talked much Phillies. Tonight's the piggyback game. It's the Walker-Buehler. It's Taijuan Walker to Walker Buehler. I'm excited to see how it looks. More so for Walker Buehler out of the bullpen. I'm just curious to see how it looks.
And what they and it was interesting because getting a little reconnaissance on that with a Phillies broadcaster yesterday.
Okay.
They will not. I was completely incorrect. They will not start Walker Buehler in the postseason. I was told with almost certainty that they will not. But because of Walker Buehler's comfort of coming out of the bullpen. So
optionality.
The idea is, though, they feel comfortable with Taijuan Walker doing the Syndergaard.
Syndergaard, yep.
And then Walker Buehler is incredibly comfortable with coming into a game in the fourth inning, fifth inning, doing something like that. So I was corrected on that don't expect Walker Buehler the next time around.
If only you listen to the guys that do the show with you.
Yes, I'm going to listen to this guy better. He does listen to the show.
We said the same thing.
But he can't do that. Well, this guy actually speaks it because he knows it for a fact. He's not speculating.
It's the Ricky Metallica thing all over again.
And so it works. Yes, exactly. I do. I tried to do reconnaissance, but with actual factual sources. And so I was told, yes, it will be
Professor
that.
Actual
so I feel
Factual.
good about that. Yes.
Do you know who that's from?
I have no idea.
So you wouldn't know because you don't have a kid.
That name sounds familiar.
Berenstein Bears.
Oh, yeah.
Berenstein Bears. Professor Actual Factual.
That's very good.
All right. Eagles Rams on Sunday. 3.5-point favorites are your Philadelphia Eagles. The over-under is terrifying because I will have my score prediction. And when I looked at my FanDuel app before I was going to say it on the air, I said, let me just see how close I am. I'm half a point off. I'm half a point off, and it's a low number. The over-under is 44.5. So if you are thinking that this is the Kevin Patullo finds it offensive performance, I don't think you're going to get it with that number unless you think the Eagles are going to score 30 and the Eagles defense will keep the Rams to like teens.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because that's what you think.
That's interesting. Well, I don't think it's going to be like that.
Oh, okay.
How about I think it's going to be 30-20. I think it's going to be Eagles 30, Rams 20, and I think the Rams are going to make it cosmetically close.
Interesting.
How about that?
And look, you have felt this way all week long.
Absolutely comfortable. I have zero thing, and I promise you this. By next Friday, when we're getting ready to board that Silver Bird to go to Tampa,
hell yeah,
I will not be
feeling as comfortable.
Speaking with my chest like
it's amazing because last week I was so confident leading up to the Chiefs game, and now it's roles reversed because I don't feel great. Now you had the Eagles winning.
I had the Eagles winning last week, but I told you that 6 minutes to go, Eagles would be up 2 scores, and that Patrick Mahomes would have the ball, and I would be chewing my nails. That's what ended up happening.
Yep,
exactly. I'm telling you, I do not believe I will be chewing my nails at the end of this game.
All right.
It's a terrible habit, by the way. Don't chew your nails.
Connor, I know you have the Eagles winning, so I'm going to have you go last so that you can sort of cheer up the mood.
Okay.
I don't have the Eagles winning this game on Sunday. I don't feel good about it. I have the Rams winning 24-20, which was the score the last 2 years ago. Remember the Eagles won 24-20 like 2 or 3 years ago. I just think it's reversed.
What did you just put on our parlay, though?
Oh, he put the over.
Because I've been wrong. And so
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay,
no,
so I understand. So you're doing like the reverse jinx on that.
Yeah, because I've been wrong. I'm 2-6 in my picks.
He's fading himself.
If I thought I was if my final score is the under, I'm going to say you should probably bet the over because I've been wrong.
It's funny is I don't think in the history of the show, and it's only been a couple of years, have we ever been this opposed going into a week? We see this game completely differently. One of us is going to have egg on their face on Monday.
Yeah, and I hope it's me. I hope I'm wrong.
Hope it's you too.
As you guys know, I always root to be wrong when I have an opinion that goes against our teams. I literally did a video for our socials with Haley, who's here with us today, in front of the wall of Eagles jerseys. I was wearing the Eagles cowboy hat because that's now a new thing. Not a Cowboys hat, but a cowboy hat with the Eagle logo on it. And I said, I feel bad wearing all this gear because I don't feel good about this game. I just have not seen the offense yet that I've needed to see, and I don't think I'm all of a sudden going to see it on Sunday. And so that is why I unfortunately will be siding with the Rams in a nail-biter 24-20. And remember what I said to you. I think Jake Elliott is a weapon this year, and that's why you have 20 points. That's 2 field goals that he's going to be getting for you, but it's still not going to be enough. I'm sorry. Connor, make the mood better.
2 field goals? How about 3 field goals? And how about a big field goal? Because my guy Jake has been a weapon so far this year, and I agree with you. I think he's going to play a big part in this game. I do have the Eagles winning, but I am nowhere near as confident as you, Johnny. And I think this is a comeback win for the Eagles. I think this is a 26-23 win for the Eagles with 3 big-time field goals, including a game-winning
winner
field goal by Jake Elliott.
Like final drive, like time running out?
Well, that would be a game winner.
No, but I mean, yeah, but if a game winner could be with 2.5 minutes to go.
Yeah,
You're saying like time running out, he's lining up for one?
This is set up the lines in between the hashes to make sure that you're kicking straight on from like the 35, 40-yard line because this is going to be a tight game. I don't think the Eagles have shown enough offensively to pull away from a team like the Rams, but I don't think that they've shown enough deficiency on either side of the ball to lose this game.
You know where you say to yourself, what are you going to be saying Sunday afternoon? Or the headline of like, what would the headline be? Sunday afternoon, you're going to be saying, where has this been? That is what Eagles fans are going to be saying. Where has this been? You're going to feel good Sunday afternoon about this Birds team.
Okay, I hope that to be the case. Now, you have them winning big, so what's going to play out? Because you have been saying all
2
week
turnovers.
long, 2 forced turnovers. Okay.
Well, I think 1 forced, 1 unforced.
Like a Kyron Williams fumble, as you pointed out earlier.
Butterfinger will. I think that's the ad they actually have on their jerseys. They put on their jerseys at practice. They've got the Butterfinger. I think there's going to be an unforced turnover. I think there will be a forced turnover. I see. You said Coop earlier in the week, I believe. Who was it? One of you two.
DeCecco
said that there's going to be a turnover. I actually see Reed Blankenship with the turnover this week as he's going to get the interception.
The diving interception?
I don't know what it's going to be. It's not going to be good enough for Salciunas. Whatever the young man does is not going to be good enough for Salciunas in style points.
Once again, for the record, I'm going to stare at the mirror. I'm going to stare at the mirror in front of me here at Rally House because I feel like I only talk to myself sometimes with Reed Blankenship.
But it'll be there. But it's Reed Blankenship comes up with it, but there'll be another turnover.
He benefits from the guy that he plays alongside, and Drew McCuba is playing well.
I think that Matthew Stafford is going to have a bad day. Bad. And I'm saying bad. I'm not saying that he's going to have a mediocre. I think he's going to have a bad day.
Not if he goes after Adoree Jackson. I'll just say it.
Well, yeah. Now here's part of my reasoning why. That's part of it. The duo of Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. I do like Kyron Williams, even though you think he's got the butterfingers.
Well, he does.
Tyler Higbee. It's very much like the Eagles. Look at all the weapons, but Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay. This is not a Jalen Hurts shot. This is Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay have something cooking where we have not seen. Maybe the oven is preheating with Jalen Hurts and Kevin Patullo, but that oven
preheat.
But that oven was preheated for Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford. I have not seen it yet. I have not seen a product that is baking just yet for me to say, oh yeah, this is going to be the week. It could be the week, and I hope it is the week, and that means I would be wrong if this is the week. But the fact that I have not seen it yet, I can't just sit here and go, yeah, the Eagles offense will be able to outscore the Rams offense. I just don't see that just yet. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I hate to bring down the mood.
We forgive you.
Okay.
You're wrong, but we forgive you.
I hope I'm wrong.
It's all right. It's going to be an amazing weekend, though. It's gonna. I'm telling you, I think it's gonna be. I feel so good about this. It's like there's no. I have left. Look, unlike our friend Bill on Unfiltered this afternoon, there's no fence here. There's no sitting on any fence. I am either going to be completely exposed on this one, or I'm going to be completely right. I feel great about this one. I don't look at the Rams. I don't look at the Rams as a team that I don't. What other people see when they watch the Rams, I don't see it. Like, I just don't see it. And I think that Matthew Stafford is a very fine quarterback, but I don't see what other people
By the
see.
way, Connor gave the perfect, actually, fence answer. I set it up for a game-winning field goal for Jake, and if he misses, it's, I was so close to being right.
Well, I was there. I told you it was going to be a last-second field goal.
I love a good fence.
All right, we have Phillies tickets. Johnny, I want you to
I'll hold it.
because that bag just looks beautiful for you. We have a nice, Phillies
It is a bog.
purse. Bog.
This is a bog.
It's a bog, and we will be now drawing the winner of the Phillies Marlins tickets. Go ahead, Johnny.
You draw it.
For
right,
September 25th, section 104, row 2. Beautiful seats right before the beginning of Red October. What do we got?
The winner is, gosh.
No, he can't
Anybody
see.
can read that handwriting?
That is Ben.
That's Benny.
That's you.
Is it Benny?
Let's see.
That's your number right there, Benny. Come over here and verify this for us,
Yep,
Benny.
that's Benny.
You're the winner.
We don't have to put your cell phone number out on the air.
He's got it. Don't do that.
Our
There's
man
Benny's
Benny
got the
wins
winner.
it. What a day
Benny. I
for
took care of Benny. Benny got taken
We're not
care
kidding
of
you.
there.
I love that.
is
That's
great. Good job,
fantastic.
Ben.
Congratulations
Always your
to
best
our
friend
man,
there.
Ben. I love
Always
that.
Good. By the way, quick shout out. She doesn't listen to the show. She's never listened to the show. But happy, beautiful birthday to my wife, Christina, tomorrow. Her birthday weekend tomorrow. So a big day
Love
for my
that.
wife.
Love that.
Happy
That's
birthday.
fantastic. And shout out to Rally House for having us here today. It's been an absolute blast. We love Rally House, every single location, but this location here specifically here in Springfield. It's been a lot of fun today. Great place to come get your Birds gear, your Red October gear. They got the NL East champion hats over there. They're beautiful hats. I love them. So thank you to Rally House for having us. Rodney, Vito, you guys are the best for
thank you so much.
engineering this program.
Nate, good job back in the
We
studio.
finally got the airplane off the ground. Look, sometimes there's delays, and then sometimes it's smooth sailing the rest of the way, and that's
But when
exactly
there's a
what
delay
the
at the
show
airport,
happened.
you get to drink.
Well,
At Rally House,
you don't know what's in my cup. You have no idea what's in
And
there.
I saw Rodney go to the truck a couple times, so I was suspicious.
Everybody have a great rest of your day. Ray Dunn comes your way next with Amy. Not sure. I don't. We're not at the studio, so I haven't seen anybody. But we know Ray Dunn's up next. Everybody have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you Monday.